What's happening, Green Hill Radio? Welcome to another exciting, lovely, thrilling episode of
the podcast.
Yeah, just shooting the shit over burgers. That's funny. We're like there's no good way to really film this. I think Canadian Prepper watched one of them. He was.
We're just gonna stare at the ceiling. Or the lights.
Yeah. I mean, all these videos have been
probably
like
just
that.
Use a voice memo app and then put a picture to it.
The next one I was gonna say, might as well just screen record it, because I was gonna have my topic be just like an amalgamation of all the
Honestly,
shit that's on
if you
the
just
group.
put gameplay to it.
Yeah, that's another thing to do.
So the Wendy's scanner is apparently not functioning for the past like 2.5 weeks.
Oh, the horror. What does that mean?
The thing to scan the QR code for the rewards. And the drive-thru doesn't work either. So you have to manually enter.
You have to walk through it?
The receipt code. Or take a picture of it, I don't know.
How the fuck the drive-thru break? It's a window. Open the fucking window.
This Coke tastes watered down somehow.
Yeah. I'm gonna stare at my glorious mug for it's funny when people like bitch about my gameplay footage being kind of low res and shit because it's a camera recording a TV. But it's like most of YouTube is a lot of channels are just some dude sitting in front of their camera complaining about the low texture of my face.
Some people are weird.
Yeah.
Some people complain about things like, why did you put a tag in your YouTube video that's related to the same game series, like different video?
Can I show your evil scientist looking ass?
No. You're not allowed to. They have to use their imagination.
We're going to awkwardly refer to you as Professor Stimulation. It's almost as bad as Moist. I'm Professor Moist.
Professor Tens.
For obvious reasons. I'm going to... Yeah. Anyway. So, doctor, whatever it was I said you were 30 seconds ago. How are you feeling on this glorious day?
Tired and hungry.
Bro's got one of these brain-stimulating devices that stimulates his brain. So, what happens if you turn that thing all the way up?
I've done it before.
Yeah?
It's, somewhat...
stimulating?
Comparable to Call of Duty Zombies when you turn on the electronic trap, and if you run through it, the guy gets zapped and he gets all disoriented and you see the electricity. But it's different than like seeing the electricity. It's basically, I think it might blur vision slightly doing that, but like only for like a second or two. I got electrocuted a long time ago, though, putting my PlayStation 2 power cord in the outlet, and I had my finger in the way, and I just got, like, jolted. But zapping one part of the brain is not the best way of doing it. It's supposed to zap evenly. So if you zap the front, you should zap the back. Also, paying attention to what the positive and the negative is. Positive, I put on the left temple. Negative, black wire.
Right nut.
Black.
You gotta do it at least once, man. You gotta slap those on your balls, man.
No.
Yeah. At least one time.
Ow.
Where you hit? Where you hit the bucket?
Hold on.
You know?
Oh, these electrodes are annoying. They don't even have a lot of gel adhesion to them, like from the start, which is definitely why they were only $10 for 40.
You need.
If they just put slightly more gel on it to begin with, and it was more adhesive, it would be good. I need to figure out a way to get the gel to be more adhesive, or just get a better electrode.
I mean, come on. You gotta stick those to a chick's nipples at least once before you.
Dude, it's not that kind of thing. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. She doesn't care anyway.
It's gonna zap the skin, and you're gonna get a skin burn.
Put the jelly on there first.
No.
That'll be fun too.
But there have been times where I tried to turn it down and turned it up on accident.
Huh.
Because like I just put it in my pocket and then try to get an idea of if I'm turning it up or down. It smells like tobacco.
I say, Squilliam, why haven't you begun digging into your feast of
Because I didn't want to get up
foods?
I didn't want to get up and grab the napkin. And I'm just kind of breaking down about taking my supplements, and yeah, I'm gonna get up though. Oh, it's because there are no napkins.
What's the guy's name?
There are literally
The
no
one-
napkins over there.
Wants to live forever. What's the guy's name? The main transhumanist guy. Brain plotting his name. You probably know who I'm talking about. He's compiled his dad's entire digital life into like a room's worth of files that he's gonna upload to AI to try to simulate his consciousness.
It's crazy.
Takes like 1,000 of these supplements a day.
Simulate his consciousness. That is the dumbest thing ever. It's
No
still
shit.
artificial. It's like Peace Walker. You remember
Yeah.
Peace Walker? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like even if you could,
It sounds so stereotypical of like an elitist.
it sounds like somebody who has no
bioengineer, whatever.
friends.
It sounds like the plot of a video game of some rich elite guy.
You sound mentally ill, sir. Yeah, I mean, there's something wrong with that guy.
It's like a Deus Ex kind of cliche.
It's like I know I'm not like it's sad. It's like a sad villain. Like, aw, he just misses his dad. Fucking what the hell is that guy's name? He was one of the older ones in the movement before AI started coming around. He's just been in there always for a minute.
I don't know.
Fuck. We got Somebody later watching this video will be screaming their ass off. Oh my God, it's da-da-da-da. It's da-da-da-da with the room full of files. It's da-da-da-da. Neither of the Peters there, Peter Thiel or Nygar.
I don't really know a lot of the names of those kinds of people.
Bloody hell, mate. Aren't you supposed to be well researched and versed in this sort of area of research and whatnot?
I learned everything I wanted to learn. I got to a point a while ago, where I learned pretty much everything I wanted to learn. Then
how do you know that? How do you know?
How do I know?
Yeah. How do you know?
Because I basically just care about health stuff.
How do you know? How do you know what you don't know? Maybe there's some more shit out there that you want to learn. You just don't know it yet.
Okay, look, basically, I just wanted to learn how to detox all this nanotech.
You never know.
The other stuff, I mean, I know what their agenda is. I know the worst parts of what the agenda is. I know what it is, that it's probably on like a 10 to 15 year time frame for a lot of the stuff. I mean, looking at what they can accomplish.
Jesus Christ, you're gonna charge me.
Is there any ketchup over there?
54 cents for the barbecue sauce or whatever.
It takes a long time.
So gonna are you gonna rent a room at the first Ex Machina frickin' iRobot cyberpunk prostitute having robo sex hotel that comes into town? You know?
When's that happening?
Well, as soon as Japan perfects it enough. They already got a couple of those hotels. Get freaky with the robots, you know.
Sounds like that Limp Bizkit music video, Boiler. I don't know if you've ever seen that. But like,
I just imagine
it sounds very similar to what you're describing.
I just imagine the robot chicken skit of the frickin' Iron Giant humping the hell out of the dryer in the basement. Clank, 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 clank.
No, people really are seriously mentally ill, considering that they want to have romances with AI.
I don't know.
If they get a vaccine, I mean, maybe their dream will come true.
Maybe you, I don't know.
If they get the right one, the right wrong one.
You're not a car guy or a motorcycle guy or a stuff guy.
A car guy? You mean like a transformer?
Yeah. No, I mean like a, I don't know. Would you stick your dick in your car?
No.
No? Shit. Missed that episode of Top Gear.
I missed all of the episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Literally all of them.
Pretty good. Here's a question that I've posed to people before. See what you have to say about it. You know, like the NPCs in Forza and the
In Forza?
yeah, in Forza, fucking racing NPCs. You know, Forza Motorsports.
I know Forza 2. I don't think I ever played Forza 4, unless it was very briefly.
Doesn't matter. The NPCs in Forza.
What about them? Are they like pit stop NPCs? Or?
Well, the cars that you're driving against, the other racers.
Do they have dialogue?
No.
Oh.
The same thing as Forza 2. Just like the other cars, the other racers and shit. I mean, they probably got that like little leaderboard even back then that says their names. But you know what I'm saying. The other drivers in the racetrack. And so you've seen how, you know, like Forza, all the racetracks are basically mock-ups of the real thing. And, you know, they're all real tracks that exist somewhere.
Yeah.
So, could you take the driver NPC out of the game? You have some way in programming. You have the outputs to the NPC character's control, basically being hooked up to a fucking car. I have no idea
what you're telling me.
All right, instead of, you know, Elon Musk's fucking driverless cars, of course.
Yeah.
All right, so that's running whatever proprietary program that he made to drive on a street. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So you take that setup mechanically that allows the interface between the computer and the car. All right, you have that same kind of a setup. That's what you would need. But so you take a car, you put it on the real life racetrack. You've got the Forza Motorsports Player 2 NPC in control of the car. Can it drive?
NPC AI from Forza control a real car and
if it doesn't realize that it's on the real racetrack.
Well, that's to do with what are they doing?
Getting freaky with the burgers back there, like Pamela Anderson.
Well, I mean, it would be the same kind of principle, except it's different acceleration and handling and speed of the car.
Wow, fucking Forza says racing simulator.
If it's just
it's got the official Top Gear seal of quality on there from Top Gear.
If it's just by numbers of like stats or whatever of a car.
Yeah, of course you have the stats matching up. You're not going to tell it it's in a Camaro and then put it in a random shit box. You know.
So you're saying match it up with the car of what it was in the game.
Yeah, whatever car you'd have it in the game.
Okay, well that's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see it. Although I doubt it would be actually accurate of what that is. It's still
like it wouldn't be able to drive on a city. No, those are scale tracks in Forza.
No, I mean the actual stats of the car are different. Like, there's no way that they're going to be as accurate as real car statistics. Just because it's on a 1 to 10 scale. Maybe. Probably not.
You have to look into that, but that's, you know.
They have to diversify it enough to where it is like a difference in using those cars. A lot of the cars, I think, would be too similar that they have to kind of edit the stats on those cars for the game.
Why would you think the physics engine would run in a way that thinks the car is little?
What do you mean?
What do you mean by scale?
I mean the scale of how they're gauging the stats of what they're putting for the cars, like the attributes of the power of the cars.
I assume it's real world. These are Class B, and I don't know what was in I don't know, it was in Forza 2, but it was professional racetracks. It was like Class A, Class B, F1, that kind of thing.
I'm just saying that compared to the actual cars, I think they have to diversify it more so for the game, what the actual car stats are of the power and like all those stats. They have to make it different than the actual car because it would be too close together for each car in the game if they didn't do that.
I don't think so.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know for sure. It's just speculation, but...
Let's just assume that they put normal stats for the car and didn't do any kind of weird balancing shit, and they just, you know, because it's Forza. It's not like you're racing stock cars in a NASCAR video game where they're all the same kind of car.
Yeah.
It's basically just letting you take whatever street car and then adding whatever performance parts to it and then racing it on a
what could actually probably be done is like if you had a real car, let's say it was like NASCAR and it was test driving on a speedway and they had some kind of cameras and sensors around the car, you could potentially just apply that same sensor data to a simulation of Forza.
It's going to have that sensor data anyway. You know, the thing is that...
But I'm just saying, if you want to make sure your car doesn't get potentially ruined...
It's going to have that sensor data anyway in order to maneuver around the track. The only program that's going to have to follow is the original game map and how the NPC would react to that. It just so happens that it's on the real-life track.
Well, you could see how it deviates from a test drive demo in the game compared to whatever it would do according to the sensors on a real track.
Yeah, but you need the sensors anyway.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I'm saying basically if you wanted to do a no-risk test drive of that and just simulate the data, that's how it would be.
Well, yeah, but that sort of takes away the whole fucking point of it.
I know, it's cooler to actually see a car drive based on
that. Literally defeats the point.
Well, it wouldn't totally defeat the point. You get to being able to look at the data of what the AI would do just without an actual car. You take a sample of data and see how it would compare. Because the same principles of data that are for the results of the game, it'd be using the same measurements of data, like the same reference points.
Anyway, so 50-50. Thing makes it around the track, successful lap, or eats a frickin' wall.
You're basically, it'd be like using a gamepad, right? It'd be like the AI outputting gamepad controls.
It's like,
to a car.
Reverse gaming.
Yeah. But that's limited to literally like the gamepad of what it is, and then the data would be collected based on how...
Well, who cares what it's limited to, man? It could be limited to a goddamn Toyota fucking Prius as long as it makes its way around the track.
I'm just looking at it as you could actually like port it back to a game idea of what that car is, or port the game to the car. I'm just saying it's fluent of whatever that mapping is of that gamepad idea. But it also has to account for the stats of the car in the game and in real life.
Well, that's the point, is that it can't account for the stats in real life.
But
the
looking
point
at the
is
discrepancy, if you had a discrepancy of it, you could like tune it for another game
It
to be
will
more
only
accurate.
have its own vague idea of what its physics are supposed to be like
Yeah.
as the car experiences G-force in a turn. It won't actually
It's
have
basically
any link
it's
to the
basically like
outside
trying to
world.
port a game physics engine into the real world and just seeing what that
Yeah.
does. Yeah. But also, if there's any latency between like the gas pedal and
Well, yeah, I mean, but we're supposing that those kind of problems have been ironed out. Like, you seen that, those videos showing you the guy freaking basically homeless, and he had built a whole robot running off of a separate PC so that the anti-cheat on Call of
oh
Duty
yeah,
couldn't
the
detect him.
aimbot.
Yeah.
Like real life. It's a whatever. It's like a robot
He
for
had
your
several.
hand.
He had the one where he had a bunch of electrodes like that, shocking
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
arm around to move. You know, so he could probably tell you if he could do. He'd probably do something like that. I mean, just a matter of getting the inputs over to the jerry-rigged system the Mythbusters used to control the car. I don't think latency like that will be an issue because the Mythbusters did
Well,
it.
it shouldn't be latent at all. Like if I can connect my Xbox controller to my phone on Bluetooth, it's still the same kind of thing. Except you'd have to have whatever computer like in the car because the range of it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I just picture like a 360 plugged into a frickin' laptop running some kind of a system plugged
Yeah.
into a, you know, some kind of a chip set up with your jerry-rigged pneumatic stuff in order to press the gas pedal and turn the wheel.
Well, it'd be interesting to see the discrepancy between the car. Oh, I mean, it's a lot of wonky,
Yeah.
weird stuff, like measurable data points, but that's interesting. Like, if you could figure out, is the real life car performing better than the one in the game,
Yeah.
or is it the other way around?
It's I don't really think that would be that would have as much effect. Unless you suppose that the in-game car NPC doesn't know the speed that the physical car is going, just like it doesn't know the physics. I mean, I'm gonna say that it at least has that much information about what's going on. Like it can tell, even if like in the background, its digital speedometer says it should be going 75 because it's putting in this much power. It knows that it's only going 70.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like that.
It's an entirely different, like, computation process of what it's reading. Because you understand, like there's a lot more to reading a car's
No
speedometer
shit, yeah,
than
yeah.
just a thing. But if it were simplified that way, yeah, that would be cool. But
Well, what do you
to
mean
even-
more to it than reading that in the car speedometer? Like no, it's gonna have access to the car speedometer and basically really all it needs, RPM and stuff. So it can try to, you know, factor in the fact, right? But like Forza has tire wear in Forza 4,
Yeah.
you know, so it's just gonna come down to, but again, I'm not really worried about that part. It's really like a GPS thing where even if you're off just by a couple of seconds or a second or a fraction of a second or a few inches, however much, little increments, And then, especially if you're going to go do multiple laps, on the first lap, being off a little bit might be whatever. But if it's, I don't know, will a error in it? So you got to hope that the tracks are 1-to-1. You suppose that they're not lying on the back of the box when they say racing simulator.
Well, if you could feed
right.
if you could feed the I don't want to keep using the word data, but if you could feed the speedometer speed of the in-game car into a real car and like have all of the speed and acceleration and everything attributed to
all of the
a
speed
car,
and acceleration
to a real car
attributed to a real car sounds good.
on its own. so that it's just transmitting to the car. It's not the car transmitting to the game, or whatever. Like you could simulate that by just having the computation and programming for the hardware of the car or whatever.
Like I almost want to say that the car gets put on the track. You have a simple track like this, right? A simple track like that. Let's just suppose, I mean, I don't see why, if everything's exactly lined up, I don't see why you can't put the car on the track and I would assume that at higher speeds the G-force would be enough to drag the car over a little bit incrementally, but with no sensors, like it's just going off of the fact that in the game that it's simulating, it starts here, and in the real world it's right there. But so in the game that it's simulating, it starts there. So because this point is this point, it can map and base the rest of it.
Well, it would be cool if you actually had a camera or like a set of cameras on a car or like on a drone following a car, so you could have, like, I'm imagining like if there were a new video game trailer and it shows the car,
not really like
the real car and the video game car side by side, like the same camera.
It's not really at this rate unless we were to do more than one car and try to have the 360 or whatever console you're going to use for this, right? That's just for awesome factor. But try to have it simulate the entire race. Because, of course, if you're playing Forza, right, there's going to be at least, like 4 cars on the track.
Have multiple cars on the same control
because then it's not really a self-driving thing if you think about it. If it's just reciting a path on the track, right? Like there's no obstacles for it to avoid or anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Put video game NPC enemy characters in Tesla bots.
It should be possible. It's just there would be like lots of discrepancies to actually
and then arm them with paintball guns. And then, you get your Will Smith
There just
mask
have to
out.
be custom hardware. Like the hardware would actually have to be based on the game, probably, or a new game with new cars and like actually vetted to be what it is, so that the hardware of the car or the software stats of the cars, there's not too much discrepancy. But that would be, I mean, I don't think it would be, I'm just thinking like it would be really expensive.
Yeah.
With AI, it's probably a lot simpler. Like, probably pretty soon would be a lot easier to do that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of math involved in it, and then there'd be some computer programming to actually port the.
People do a lot of
thing.
Controlling little robot arms and things with ChatGTP. Another interesting one, like this guy had the robot arm that played the video game for him in order to avoid the anti-cheat and whatnot.
Well, it's kind of like if you had a racing wheel. If you had like a racing wheel that would be motorized but like programmed by the game itself.
Well, what about would just be interesting to see, like, ChatGTP having to play the game, and you just turn up the difficulty settings to see what it could do. And put ChatGTP in like a first-person shooter, right?
Well, here's the other thing. ChatGPT, you know, it can generate responses really quickly.
Yeah.
I was watching a YouTube video. There's two comedians, and they said, what would be the quality of a joke if it had a month to write a joke compared to if the comedian was just sitting writing jokes and tried to like make their joke the best? Would ChatGPT make more jokes and better jokes than the comedian theirself, or not? And basically they concluded the comedian makes the better joke.
Yeah.
Because they are refining the same thing. They can keep rewording it or just keep trying to add to it and thinking critically, or like maybe not so critically, but just making sure that they try to refine it.
Well, the ChatGTP doesn't really have... The ChatGTP doesn't have context to a situation being funny. A ChatGTP, so there's like there's a lot of things that wouldn't necessarily work for it.
It can make plenty of jokes given a context. Like you can set a context for it.
Yeah, but the person, like, it's a different kind of, oh, did he just say that? It's, oh, did it just say that? You know?
Well, they could
like,
also, well, yeah, so they have to have the reference
like,
points of what that is.
It's drawing mathematically on basically categorized values of things like, oh, frickin' showing up to school without your pants, that dream, like, that has a funny value of this much, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't actually know what any of these situations are like, right? Like,
it can look at it.
It can formulate.
It can look at it in a quality way of how it speculates about that, and it can rehash ideas. The point that I'm making is that where you can generate something from ChatGPT in a few seconds, what is what are the actual results step by step? And I mean like prompt by prompt of what it generates. What are the results if you take one thing, regenerate it, and look at it at each iteration of what it becomes? You can see how it's formulating its improvements of what it is, but also it's different because it has that much time. If it's generating prompts over a month,
we should get two phones together and tell our chat GTPs to rap battle each other for the next for the next hour.
It could do that, but you just copy paste the prompt, each prompt into like the result into each prompt.
If we had the whatever the one is now that talks, Gronk or Sora or whatever the frick, the one that's got the couple of bouncing dots.
Sora's the video.
Yeah. Well, it's just an idea.
But so you get the point, like what's the difference between it has a month to write a joke or some kind of creative prompt versus if you just use one generation of it? Like, think about how much computing power can be put into
about
this.
What? Feeding the stuff it comes up with back into it to have it rejigger its own stuff.
Let's consider that the computing power that ChatGPT uses for one prompt, if you put 1,000 times that computing power for one prompt, what is the better result?
It's Troll, Tennessee.
How would that be compared to 1,000 different prompts? Or one prompt that's 1,000 times more computing power.
Imagine if you were a petty rich guy and you didn't like Elon Musk and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna buy freaking 1 million phones and I'm gonna just have them all running ChatGTP, the dumbest stuff. Like,
you just reminded me of...
Keep calculating pi until I get my poof of smoke off in the distance.
Did you hear about... There were a bunch of SIM cards, like hundreds of thousands of SIM cards that were found. It was going to be like a cyber attack.
Oh, yeah? No, I didn't hear about this one.
Yeah, so apparently somebody could buy up, and for not too expensive, I mean, if they were really trying to do a cyber attack and they had the money for it, they just buy up hundreds of thousands of SIM cards, and then they can shut. It's like an EMP, but it's like a mobile EMP. So it would overload the networks of the carriers, and then people wouldn't be able to use their phones at that time for, like, I don't know how long, but it would be long enough that it would be problematic. It was the same day that Trump was meeting with someone, some like guy from another country. I don't know. It was like the president from another country.
Wasn't
Might have been India or
Xi
something.
from China?
I don't know if it was Xi Jinping.
Xi
Jinping, Pong, Winnie the Pooh.
Do you think, like...
Puts people in forced labor camps. That's why I can make fun of him.
Yeah. No, I just, like, English words don't sound like sound effects. That's really sound effecty.
Well,
I don't
okay.
even think that's racist.
Xi
That's
Jinping. It's not G. If it was
Xing,
G,
ping, swing,
Xi Jinping, Xi
swing,
Xi Jinping.
Winnie the Pooh, don't say that about him. That'll really piss him off.
Contrary to popular belief, they didn't ban Winnie the Pooh in China.
Is that why so many Chinese names are like XI and then a couple other random letters scattered around? Because they gotta use the letters sparingly. 2 billion people.
It's like Roman numerals.
Yeah, dudes with the name like X.
But if I was like Zhang Fu Young or like...
Yeah, well,
Young,
at least that's a name.
Well, yeah, but it was already a name. I'm just trying to be creative, and these are already names.
Right. There's a lot of hadiths out there for you to, the Muslim world at least over there, naming every kid Mohammed.
Why did Kim Jong-un die?
Fatness.
Because he was Kim Jong-il.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah. Kim Jong-il. Frickin' Dennis Rodman. That was certainly something, wasn't it? You ever watch that James Franco movie, The Interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I just thought it was really funny. But that was like 10 years ago, right? Or more than 10 years ago?
Probably now, yeah.
I remember buying up PlayStation gift cards.
I remember him being real pissed about it.
It's like PlayStation Network is down. I just bought
Did you know
$200 of PlayStation gift cards.
Did you know that in the early 2000s, because it was the cheapest for the amount of power that you were getting from it, Iran contributed to the PlayStation 2 being the king of kings there, the number one sold. They bought thousands of PlayStation 2s.
It was the number one DVD player in the world.
Well, Iran bought thousands. The Iranian government bought thousands.
What did they run on it?
They wanted to take them apart to build a supercomputer, a PlayStation 2 based supercomputer.
And then the PS3 came
It was the Iranian government over there. Imagine.
No, they were trying to build a portable detonator for
Can you imagine,
PS2.
like, activate the PlayStation 2s, you know, when they go to war with somebody?
I'm just imagining like the PlayStation 2 startup having some kind of like sophisticated like bomb
Yeah.
interface.
Yeah, all of the defenses.
like you hear the startup thing and it's like the white blocks and then it just
all the
launches into
automated
some kind of, like,
turrets
terrorist.
and defenses in Iran are running off of like old copies of Call of Duty. That's why the aim sucks so bad.
Oh, you know what's really cool is PlayStation 1, you can just put the game disc. I think you put the game disc in backwards or something.
No, you can take it out and
upside-
it'll keep playing.
Yeah.
Some PS2
Well, yeah, because
games
there's only
will do
one
that.
laser reader. But I remember just like trying that out, like trying to figure out how do you get to that menu.
Yo, I remember when I got the PS5, bro. One of the first things I did was take my PS2 copy of Vice City and try to stick it in there. That would have been great, though. Like, I mean, the PS4 games like Red Dead Redemption 2, frickin' Fallout 4, like Red Dead Redemption 2 had a noticeable graphics improvement when I put it in the PS5. So that'd have been hell funny. It'd be great if we had backwards compatibility going all the way back like that. You could throw a PS2 game in your PS5 just to see the graphics.
What I thought was weird is that Xbox 360 only had limited backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it's bullshit on a list.
Like PlayStation 3 didn't even have any backwards compatibility, but the fact that it was just limited for Xbox is really weird.
Yeah. Well, at least the PS4, PS5 there. I don't know, it'd just be funny to see blindingly cleaned up freaking GTA.
Have you ever seen a hacked Xbox?
Yeah, I mean,
I had one. I think I got it for my
go
birthday.
smoke a cigarette.
But you could set the lights on it to flash like red and green Christmas lights.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see. This is why we're gonna do like, we'll do a screen recorder episode, guys. Because like, we're gonna like show you clips of stuff. Seen this one guy, his PC gaming setup had like all these fireworks. He had like his monitor inside of a case, I guess, to protect it. He had like bottle rockets all the way around the thing, and every time an enemy shot him, one of the rockets went off and actually hit him.
Oh, dude,
He had like a freaking taser tasing him. He had like...
I had the idea for
crazy
PlayStation
shit.
VR before it came out.
No, but this is just like some homemade nonsense this guy slapped together.
But what I was thinking is literally PlayStation VR, but with like motion sensors, like motion capture, I think there was. But if you got, like, if you took damage in a game, then you get some.
Oh, the one that like, it's the chest pad and all the plates and shit that, I thought they just vibrated.
If
Or
it
at
was
least
like
there's one that
if it was like
vibrates.
paintball, yeah, that would be cool too.
Zip this freaking coat up. Woo!
I got this coat from Temu. This is still, I think, my favorite coat I've ever had.
Motherfucking Chinese TSA agent reporting for duty. Motherfucking Chinese ass coat, probably filled with.
I got literally
electronic
my
listening
wish list for
devices.
Temu, dude, for $50. I got my freaking wish list for Temu. Is this coat, a balaclava, gloves, boots, R36S, a phone clip-on mount for my Xbox controller.
Like you know, you paid for that jacket and then they made it after.
Maybe.
Like they
I did look into it. I checked.
Oh yeah, did you see some
ChatGPT.
videos on that?
I was watching videos. They're like, oh, forced labor, Chinese labor. Yeah, I believe in that. But when I looked at it years ago, I was reading stuff about how it seems suspicious, but it's probably not.
The system of where.
No, they have the
shit
freaking
is
like the
basically
safety
custom,
nets.
like, yeah, Foxconn factories. I've seen all that shit too. I just mean the system of basically like items on the Temu, the Temu conspiracy. If you boil it down, is basically that the still ain't lit. It's like tobacco falling out of it. Fucking just light it.
I'm just waiting for it to burn this part.
Like all the shit that's on Temu doesn't exist. They put up pictures of all these products.
It depends on who's selling it. Like there are third-party sellers who already have inventory. The way that the inventory is run is basically it could be similar to Amazon and how
a lot of the goofier items, like that game console is probably made by somebody else. But yeah, that explains, and they sell some odd motherfucking shit on there, bro. I've seen some crazy shit scrolling through, having to, scroll through reels all the time on Facebook, so you inevitably end up seeing fucking random Temu ads. They're selling you ever seen the one where it looks like crystal meth they're selling? No? They sell some weird shit, man.
I've seen some weird stuff on there.
You never seen the one where it's like a single fucking bolt to a car and it says like part number 9,000? Yeah, real. There's one way to buy a car, I guess, right? Part number 9,000 to your fucking
man.
Global warming.
You're putting this one up on YouTube?
What, with the farts?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. It's a normal bodily function, like hating communism. Tell you what now.
Yeah, I had a freaking stomach ache. Ugh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's just getting worse now.
Oh, that sucks.
It's all sorts of like gastrointestinal stuff. I think I just need some fiber.
Fucking didn't even end up playing video games with dude the other day. Fucking went over to called the fucking cab to go over to the press box and watch fucking the Patriots.
Dude, I'm embarrassed. We're on YouTube, just like YouTube farts, dude.
Well, this is what happens.
No wonder why you got a short asking for videos made for kids or not.
Fucking because this is what I don't get about that is the way they word that and then crossed with like the way that everybody fucking talks about it. Everybody talks about.
It's because they have a YouTube Kids. They utilize an
Sherlock.
Huh?
No shit, Sherlock. I'm talking about people being like, oh shit, my videos keep on getting, or this and that video got age regulated or whatever. Happens to Angry Joe sometimes.
Based on AI?
Based off of whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I assume, it scans your videos and stuff. It was Angry Joe. I think it was like $325 in one video. Or something like that. And his video got flagged. But so.
Just reminded me of Angry Grandpa.
Yeah, well, the point is, anyway.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Go.
What are you gonna talk about?
Oh, I don't know. Talk about.
Talk about Nazi Germany.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna pause it. I say, Reginald, what have you been? Yes, pip and all that?
Pip.
Jolly good fun, eh, what, old chap?
It has been a day.
That'll increase your upper lip stiffness by tenfold.
Which will fix my underbite.
Pretty sure that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Well, we'll do what it does.
Capable of deflecting bullets with a single snarl. I bet you would see a 20-fold increase in upper lip stiffness if you were to get the
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. It's just, you know, the British have stiff upper lips, and that's how they won World War II or some nonsense. They deflected the enemy artillery.
I got it. $5 off.
Who got some of the life-changing supplements at InfoWarsLifeStore.com. What the fuck? No, not Pavlovian, sir.
You're not Pavlovian?
Pavlov's duck. Pavlovian response.
Pavlov's dog.
Hey, he did it with a duck too.
What about Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah, now that's a more interesting one.
Well, what if Schrodinger's cat met Pavlov's dog? What would happen? Some people would think that the dog would attack the cat, or maybe the cat would attack the dog. Maybe
Ultimately,
one of them didn't exist.
What if you were to? No, I'm not gonna go there. What if you were to put a crackhead in a box?
If you put a crackhead in a box?
Yeah. Does the crack exist, or does the crack not exist?
Well, the crack of the box. I mean, there's some way that you gotta have creases in the box.
So what does Schrodinger's cat suppose that we're like in a? It's almost video game like if you think about it. You're in a state of.
It's just the idea of isolating information and finding an anomaly within that isolation.
Well,
I think.
I guess the point is, does the cat exist in the box if we're not looking at it?
No, the whole idea.
Reality renders like a video game.
The whole idea is like to try to frame people's consciousness as if it's only what their brain is telling them, which actually doesn't really make sense because people inherently have more than only a brain, so it's like saying, can your brain think about this information in an isolated way that you're not using your brain for it? It doesn't really have any big meaning. It's like trying to be prolific about something that's already obvious. But it is kind of like the question of, is the brain aware of what it is? Like, are you self-aware, or do you think you're only a brain in a jar?
I think the brain.
And that whole thing is just another one of those, like, think about it.
I think the better question is the subconscious mind aware of what it is? They say the subconscious.
It's not only a mind. See, point of this, like the whole point of this is that you have neurons, but you have neurons. Like you have more than one neuron,
All right, but
you have a brain.
the physical meat...
You have hemispheres of your brain.
The physical meat doesn't have awareness. We're talking about two possible points of awareness within your head. That point of awareness that sits there.
It's just to analyze assimilation as separate.
What
from
I'm saying
assimilation.
is, if we're not talking about the physical meat, we're talking about the points of awareness. If we're talking about the points of awareness, we're obviously not talking about your conscious mind that sits there and does your internal dialogue when you're reading Nana's Christmas card or whatever. All right, the subconscious mind is the one that we should talk about, and either it is not aware of what it is and where it is, or it is and we just don't know it because we don't talk or link up with the subconscious mind enough.
It's just different parts of the brain. I think it's called the amygdala, and it's like that mind filter, but it's actually, people kind of conceptualize understanding of what that is more than what it actually was physically. So there's a lot of people.
I've never heard anybody assign a specific location in the brain to the subconscious mind.
I'm pretty sure it's the amygdala, but it's also, the brain is connected in, like, there's so much that is the brain and the nervous system and the heart and all of that.
What's really interesting is those guys who get, like, half their head blown off and they're still alive, walking around being normal relatively, like,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that where people are coming up with these ideas of all different kinds of subconscious mind stuff, and like, what does that mean to
dissociate? Do you think the subconscious mind isn't real?
It's an idea, but it is that people retain sensory information and memory, and some part of what the brain is learning is it's retaining information.
That set your shirt on fire eventually?
No. But the point is, where people are trying to draw conclusions about mental ideas, they're kind of trying to process information in a different way than what the actual physicality was. So that's where people are trying to, like, disassociate and reassociate on fragmentations of their ideas to, like, partition themselves as a brain, to say that there is no self-awareness, but to also say that there's a mind and that there's, like, passes to filters of ideas. That's where people try to be introspective and they try to understand information, but at the same time, that's very much just going out on a whim and saying, like, this is part of a different unawareness that is somehow tied into the awareness, but it's cut off somehow, but it's also assembled to it, but I'm also associating with it, I'm also disassociating from it. So there's all sorts of these attachment.
You ever heard of the term in psychology, self-talks?
Yeah.
So, like, something like less than 40% of your, or a quarter, way less, it's like 10% or something of your subconscious mind's self-talks, the random fucking shit that isn't your thoughts that just pops up, and how the majority of those are negative.
Some of that's conditioning. There's
we're talking about
survival
the
instincts
place.
Also,
we're talking about the place that random ideas come from, that just pop up in your head. The place that
over analyzing and ruminating thoughts. Yeah.
The idea is that, like, a whole lot of work is being done in the background by the brain, thinking about all kinds of stuff that is not immediately the concern of what's going on, right? Like, deep in your subconscious, you're thinking about a bunch of stuff while you're driving down the street, but you got to pay attention to the road. So, and I feel like different thoughts, like I was just thinking of a thought right now, a different thought. But it was light in the background. And maybe there's continuing degrees of that. And that's how it just kind of blends in.
The truth about that, most people actually have overactive neurons that misfire, or they're overfiring neurons. So if you use negative electrode on that part of the brain, then it slows down the rate of fire of those neurons. Also, if you have more dopamine release, dopamine is connected to efficiency of using the right proteins, but it's also connected to your ability to move.
Yeah.
But it's also what slows down the neurons so that the neurons don't overfire. So between electrode, negative electrode, and having dopamine release, you can actually stabilize the firing of your neurons.
Imagine you're Bill Gates or debatably worse, Jeffrey Epstein. Just imagine you're one of these people, right? I don't know, I'm just thinking
I
like...
wouldn't want to.
Can you imagine, like, harvesting the dopamine out of thousands of people and then mainlining pure dopamine?
Harvesting dopamine?
Yeah, harvesting other people's dopamine because scrolling TikTok wasn't enough. Friggin'.
That concept is so wildly crazy.
You just have a bunch of people...
For people to release dopamine, right?
A bunch of people, like... They don't even feel shit. They're just like strapped up and they gotta scroll TikTok and they don't even feel it. Like the dopamine's getting sucked.
Dopamine isn't like a freaking mind code.
Where do they get
diamonds.
Where do they get the melatonin from and the DMT? Those are other naturally occurring things within the brain.
They don't have to harvest it from people. It's atoms and molecules.
I know, but still. All right. Still though, the dopamine. What would that be like to have a dopamine?
A dopamine release?
A pure dopamine pill or something.
Okay, well,
like,
I'll tell you the
work?
truth.
Would taking other people's dopamine even work? Can you OD on
You
it?
don't need other people's dopamine.
Yeah.
You have enough dopamine as it is. It's just your mechanisms of releasing dopamine can be inhibited somehow.
You can't possibly believe that.
People who do hard drugs,
more pings,
have a lot of problems.
More reloads equals more pings. More pings equals more dopamine. And this is why you only shoot your M1 Grand once. You can't possibly believe that there's an... just answer the question. What do you think would happen?
If they harvest someone's dopamine?
Yeah, what do you think that would be like?
Well, that person probably would become a person who has serotonin syndrome.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the guy who got their dopamine harvested. I'm talking about the wacky billionaire who injected like several dozen people's worth of dopamine.
Why would he do that? If
Why?
It's not,
you got $1 billion.
That's not the principle of what it is.
Who cares? Use dopamine. Doesn't matter.
The fact is, there are people who are crazy who want to use hard drugs to get dopamine released when they don't need to.
No crazy person would care about these questions, so just skip to the good part.
Okay, so I can explain to you that kratom releases dopamine in a healthy way, and the point of it is don't be an idiot, don't take too much of it. That's it. There are other people who will use hard drugs and illegal street drugs, and these people become zombie mutants wandering the streets asking for crazy...
The person
whatever
who takes the dopamine. What happens?
It's not take the dopamine.
Yes, taking
that's not
other
how it
people.
works.
Yes,
that's not how it works.
No, we're gonna make it work that way.
Maybe heroin is like that. I don't know. I've never tried it.
No, because you're just releasing something into somebody's system to make them release the dopamine. We need somebody else's dopamine. Standing there with a net while the freaking dope head shoot up.
This is like the extremeness of the idea of the drug trip.
This is gonna be the most petty form of adrenochrome that has ever existed.
I don't even think the adrenochrome is a real thing. Like, people who need adrenaline support, do you understand?
That's totally...
No, hold on. Do you understand?
That's totally a real thing.
There's medical science about adrenaline support using something called DHEA and iodine. These two things are good enough on their own. People who need, like, okay, if someone's an adrenaline junkie, there are actual shots of adrenaline. Having adrenochrome, like, what is that? Like, what's the difference? I mean, I don't think people even know the difference because it's some, like, wonky conspiracy theory thing that's just literally, it's at the idea.
Well, it's far enough along in its being dragged into the daylight that it's considered common knowledge enough now as to where the system feels comfortable with coming out with the vampire
the
face
system
treatment.
doesn't want people to know about supplements.
The 50-year-old sitting there getting transfusions of his son's blood. Yeah, that guy's on 1,000 supplements. The guy's on 1,000 supplements too.
No. They don't want people to actually be stacking supplements.
The idea.
They front on this adrenochrome.
This is a wild. This is a wild thing. This is a wild thing.
You need some adrenaline. Take some DHEA.
I've never heard anybody say that over all the years that it's taken to progress past the point where it's like maybe once in your life. Like, I mean, hearing the word adrenochrome years and years ago was a rare thing. You knew you were digging, well, I don't care what you're shaking your head for, but
I'm
in reality, you knew that you were digging down. A decade ago, you knew that you were digging down into the dark corners of the internet and the deepest part of the rabbit holes at the time when you started hearing the word adrenochrome getting passed around. I don't know, it's just real wild to me. I've never heard anybody say that, oh, adrenochrome's not even real. They just put that out there as a distraction for supplements. It's honestly, it's kind of goofy. We have Nigar on video. Like, we have lots of these type of elites.
I could put out all sorts of disinformation.
Oh, there's plenty of movement in the supplement ground. I don't think that's.
There's some specific ones I don't want people to know about. I just use the idea that it actually is the way it is for a reason. But the point of what I'm making about this is, if people need adrenaline support,
it's not about adrenaline support. It does have a cocaine like it's the idea there's this guy who injects himself with something and he becomes more powerful, like a Resident Evil villain. Transylvania, Vlad Dracul did it. There's literally whole History Channel specials on various royalty that have done it. The most famous one is a woman, a countess, who had just like dried out the whole town, the number of people over the course of like her entire existence as living in that castle, basically hiring new wait staff.
Castle?
No, this is a woman. This is a woman that did this. She used to take baths and the stuff. But you got the vampire face treatment coming out now, being more popularized. Got Jennifer Aniston's freaking foreskin treatment over there.
Oh,
you got this 50-year-old guy coming out.
Ready?
Yeah, no, word. That's not the same thing. We're talking about a cocaine-affecting like substance that could be compared to...
I'm looking at what it is. Adrenochrome. It's a real chemical compound.
And so, no shit, Sherlock.
But it's formed when adrenaline oxidizes.
So now, look at the molecule there for it. That's the white rabbit that you're supposed to follow. All right. And so this is like, to a Satan-worshipping cannibal, all right, type person, this is like, kind of like veal, all right? So it is the torturing of the children. It's ritualistic. If you ever look into the Thelema working, or the older Order of the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley's OTO, the Book of the Law, all right? So the blood sacrifice magic part of this is integral to the entire thing. So you're getting the ritualistic torture, you're getting the adrenochrome out of that process. That's part of that whole system there. I mean, I've never heard anybody say, I mean, you can think that that's funny or whatever, but, Aleister Crowley's whole history, well documented, of ritual practice.
I'll just tell you the truth. Anybody who participates in that is like a total idiot. I just leave them at the idea that they're satanic and evil and that they don't matter. That's basically it.
Well,
do I believe that there are people who actually believe that they're part of something like that? Yes. But somebody who has that kind of intention is already evil. But somebody who's... Look, there's not really an advantage to being evil other than some kind of sociopathic way of deceiving people and stealing resources.
well,
The other part of it is literally people give themselves to Satan. At the same time, that's like... It's basically like playing the role of a human being who has no purpose of anything other than that they have no purpose of anything.
well, at the end of the day, all right. Now, see,
I just don't care about that.
This is debating this from the standpoint of you're trying to understand them from a human position. So you're supposing that this is just a regular person who, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so
I'm saying that they sold their soul to Satan, but at the same time, they're not interesting to me because they're obsolete to anything of real life.
well, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. As somebody who has...
Do I think that they can deceive people? Sure. But do I think that they're important? No.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can think the bullet is unimportant as it comes careening into your skull and removes your brain from the other side, but whether or not the bullet cares about your point of view while it's blowing it out the back of your skull doesn't really care, it doesn't matter. Like, these people, Bill Gates is making his fake meat and his recycled sewage water and putting up his windmills, all right?
Really?
Yeah, and the largest cricket processing plant is opened in the UK, and the World Economic Forum is doing its thing.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I mean?
basically what it is that I don't really...
You're coming
it's not that I don't
from
care at all.
you're coming from like an Amazonian tribe living out in the jungle, and because I don't see or hear of it, it doesn't affect me.
No, it's absolutely not that. I know what they're trying to do is they're trying to...
Well, because
ready? These people are so evil that they are literally the Antichrist that's written about in the book of Revelation.
All right, so
I believe that they're doing these kinds of things, right? What I'm telling you is that spiritually, they don't matter to me because they're all going to burn for eternity. What I see is that there are
Well, that's
people...
a nice way of saying I give up, and it doesn't matter because my player character is going this place when we're done here.
It's not that. It's that I actually understand that whatever it is, I don't care about them because I don't forgive them. Like, they don't qualify for a forgiveness in a way that a lot of other people do.
So don't fucking forgive them, but bloody goddamn stand up and fight them. What the hell?
I am already more powerful than them spiritually.
Let me make sure that I don't care about them isn't translating into I'm not gonna help do anything about them.
Oh no,
Like,
it doesn't mean I don't care
not-
about humanity. I care about humanity. I care about life, right? What I'm telling you is that spiritually I have more power over them, just as God has more power over Satan.
Well, then you go ahead and pray for me. Join me in my daily prayer that Bill Gates will have an asteroid randomly impact him, You know, just walking down the street.
It's
Bill
not.
Gates,
It's not. It's
asteroid
not even
impact.
that. It's let God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Oh, well,
Because
for fuck's sake,
that's exactly
mate.
what it is. No, when you have to
What a
understand.
circular bunch. This is why I don't
No.
like religious people who go by the stuff that is.
It's not
all the stuff that comes out of the
It's-
Bible in that sense.
I don't advocate for just a man being violent against another man.
Let
What I'm
God's
telling
will
you-
be done and da da
No,
da.
what I'm telling you is that when you understand that God expects that his people not be violent to other people, you have to understand also that God's wrath upon the corrupt people is so much what they need that
He who would turn his
do you think
sword
God is,
into a
no,
plow
do you
is
think
surely
God
a
is going to
fool.
let is
He
going to
would
let
be the
these people
slave
into
of
heaven?
those who didn't.
Do you think God is going to let unrepentant, crazy, murderous people into heaven? No, he's not. He never will. They're not saved. They don't care. They don't even have the morality and ethics of what a person as a human being should be at all. So understand, I'm not being a coward. I'm not saying that there is no fight against these people. I am saying that where you are telling me, let's wish death and destruction upon all of them, I wish it upon them up until the point of where they physically die. It gets off of that track there, because what I'm saying honestly is that a physically dead person is useless to what they could be as a person who has physical life and could actually repent.
I was about to say, you don't think Bill Gates is going to repent
He won't.
someday?
But what I'm telling you is that what I have to say to them is that they are as useless as I wish death and all punishments on them, except to the point where they would physically die. Because what they actually need to understand is that they are basically at a point where if they physically die without repenting, they physically died without repenting.
Maybe if Bill Gates' house gets haunted because he bought a possessed doll, all right, God's not going to do him any favors when he starts praying to get rid of the damn ghost, okay? But if Bill Gates decides that you are going to drink poop water and eat fake lab-grown meat, you will do it. I don't know how useful or useless you think that is.
It's at the point where the fact that they are doing this kind of stuff, the American government is basically a terrorist organization that they allow it to happen. Okay, so that's all I really have to say about that. It's
all right,
like,
so this is that.
wherever the government thinks that
this is that where
I'm
the
a bad
rubber
person or whatever, like this is their problem.
This is that where the rubber meets the road problem that Christians seem to have a lot of time, where honestly it sounds like spiritual defeatism to me.
No,
I already
what
know
I'm
where
saying-
Bill Gates is gonna wind up
No.
da 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 da.
No, what I'm saying is I don't celebrate punishing people, because literally my intention is I don't want these people to do the wrong thing. At the same time, I could feel, and I do feel, that there are people who deserve death. Like, they literally deserve to just fall on the floor dead because they're useless to God and useless to humanity. At the same time, when I've said prayers about this, because I've prayed about this a lot, and I've seen specific people who deserve to not be alive, I've said my prayers. I've got to the point where it's literally just, I don't take pride in what a person's punishment should be. It's a serious thing. When somebody deserves to actually be punished with death, that is a serious thing. It's not something I'm just going to rejoice and celebrate. God desires that all people be saved. So what I'm saying is, it's not something snarky, but what I'm saying is they literally are at a point where they deserve death. And I wish it upon them in ways where I just wish that they get punished to the point where they are willing to be changed to be saved in repentance. To where it's not just that sound for them as,
All right.
as the end.
But at the end of the day, you know,
Bill Gates is evil. There are a lot of evil people. These are terrorists, right?
All right,
so
but-
why
but
doesn't
this-
the American government take them as terrorists and try them for capital offenses? Because they won't. And that's where I just say, you know what? I'm a good musician. I'm a good Christian, first and foremost. And that's it. I know the answers to the problems. I know the solutions. They have leverages
Now,
over the
so-
government and over other things. They don't care.
the American
They
government,
want money. They want to control people.
the American government is basically just a little reflection of us, in a way, to the degree. Oh yeah.
They're not a reflection of me.
It is a
They
it is a
certainly are not.
reflection of the country as a whole, to the degree that we are asleep and refuse to control it.
They are. I'm not.
So-
I'm not here just to save the world. I'm here to be a good person to God and like to understand what it is that when I repented to God and I did the right things, I understand there's a lot of people who think that they're not in real life. Like they think that they're just not going to have the accountability in life. And so where it is, I do care, but there is so much of a pridefulness that people have in being harsh towards people, but also the evil people, the people who really want to do evil, have hyped up the people who hate them to a point where it became political in a lot of ways. And I saw that with the InfoWars stuff, which I don't hate InfoWars.
Well, no,
I don't hate
I
Alex
mean-
Jones.
But I don't agree with that, simply because we already went over this whole chronological order of when InfoWars became political. The whole Trump
but
being
I'm
the
saying by
spearhead
nature,
in that
the nature
moment.
the nature of the evil is that Satan is very deceitful, but he gaslights people
This is
also.
the nature of a false flag in its entirety. Anyway,
It's a false flag
is to
government.
Yeah.
But it's also proxies of a beast that is the Antichrist upon the earth that deceives all the nations.
Point is, too much of your attitude towards these things is defeatist, and leaving things up for the wheel to spin away in Jesus' hand. All right, God helps those who help
It's not
themselves.
defeatist to me. What it is that
It sounds like
where-
a lot of sitting on your hands.
No, but if I can inspire that you felt that way, you actually misinterpreted what I was saying. But what I'm telling you is that where you can find a passion against the evil, that's very good. I use my musicianship. What I understand is that personally, I've been attacked in my life to where I started to understand how this beast is operating and the mechanisms it has of censorship and of what the agenda actually is for the next foreseeable 10 or 15 years, whatever it is. I actually used to pander to this system in a lot of ways. So I understand there are some people who pander to it and they get rewarded and they get favoritism. When I did that, I only got hit worse. So there's no reconciliation at some points. What you have to understand is that various people have different perspectives, like views of their perspectives and experiences of what it is to either get hit by the system and get favoritism after a time, or they just get hit by the system or they're favorited. Either way, it's like you have to understand what this is to each individual person. So where it is that people think that they're fighting the system, they already have ideas of who isn't going to actually find their own freedom in this.
Well, now, you know what?
People have a subservience to their ideas and their beliefs.
You know what
too
my
much.
brain was going back to was thinking about, well, we just had the little adrenochrome conversation, but that's just funny to me, like, on multiple levels there, to be like, I mean, yeah, the whole Trump, Hitler, Elvis situation thing there.
Yeah, that's not real.
Now that's wild stuff. All right, that's brand new. Somebody's new like theory that they've concocted. All right, that's not in the established conspiracy theory lore. All right, I wouldn't consider that tenured. All right, that's a new guy, right? Who just came up with that. Okay, it's not like we've had decades and decades since before Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas made a reference to it of documentation of this stuff. All right, it's just interesting. It's just interesting to me to be even on the lower level of the adrenochrome thing doesn't exist at all. Oh, but I believe in God and devils and demons and...
It's not that it doesn't exist, it's that I actually know what they have covered up is that it would easily be counterintelligence to say that it's adrenochrome and that there's already lists of people who know more than that. So I'm just telling you what I know, honestly.
No, I'm just saying in perspective, like a lot of stuff is not as crazy, I think, as believing in God or heaven or
I'm not
demons.
gonna debate God or heaven because I already live what I
mean, we
live.
either have a very milquetoast reality that's very down to terra firma, or we don't.
Look, I don't know what milquetoast reality means. Like
well, what you were told reality was when you went to school.
No, it's not like that. I've already been through things. Like I've learned things in a way where somebody who seeks God will actually learn the truth about creation. The point of what I'm telling you overall is that where you think that I would use cowardice and not fight the evil, the truth about it really is I'm not a violent person. I also know the disinformation that they're using to control people's beliefs and perspectives. It's all sorts of proxies of people's minds
now,
and ideas. Hold on. Ready?
No, I didn't say cowardice. I said defeatism.
That's basically...
It's not that you're afraid. You
that.
just believe you don't have to do anything.
It's not that. It's actually... I know what I've done is very important.
You believe that everything...
No.
You believe that everything is on its own little set tracks and that it's all going to turn out the way that it's going to turn out.
Is.
And even if you...
It will.
Even if tomorrow
There's
you
a witness
dedicated
that it will.
yourself and jacked it all the way up to 11 and said, I'm going to go out there every day and fight the forces of evil that I can face up against with everything I got.
It's a bit more nuanced than just that. Because... the reality of it is that whatever will control someone's idea could be what starts defining them in their personality.
And so when you have, and I believe it's a bad attitude. I think it's, I wouldn't want to call it a sickness, but if I was Alex Jones talking about it, I would say this defeatist white-pilled sickness attitude.
No.
And so what happens is when the sickness spreads from one person to another person thinking that they don't have to do anything, then you have a whole country of people thinking that they don't have to do anything. We'd all just sit on our hands.
It's actually not that. It's I know what I've done. And I know how I've blessed people. I know how I bless the world and how I live.
There's not going to be anything for God to help you make work out if you don't do anything.
I didn't say I wasn't going to do anything.
You can't.
What I said is that I had actual understanding of the information of what people think their ideas are.
You can't pray for God's army to be victorious if there is no army.
But this is at a point where you have to understand I've already looked past the ideas. So where there is a proposition of an idea of this is what the agenda is of what we need to do.
You can't hope anything you're going to do is going to be successful.
There has to be somebody who can look past the framework.
You're like preying on other people's behalfs.
No.
You're like, yeah.
This is actually what I anticipate a person would say if they don't understand what looking past the framework is. The framework is
And-
literally the happenstance of this information existing. Where you say we have to fight them, I'm saying, what if that idea that we have to fight them, it actually has to have a witness behind that framework and around it? Because if you
I
get caught
feel
up
like
in the ideas,
you use these kind of weird. I feel like you use
I'm saying-
abstract biblical terms when you
No,
don't really
that's
have.
that's not the only
when
thing.
When you don't really have anything to say. What do you mean a witness behind it? What the hell does that even mean?
What it means is that there is literal book of Revelation that talks about what will happen and what is happening. Okay, so I know...
Go back and re-say the sentence. We should be fighting as the forces of good against the forces of evil.
It's a different definition of what a fight is.
There's no witness.
People have an idea of what they think the fight is.
Behind it.
The witness around the framework is what I'm telling you, is the framework of ideas.
Okay, who is the witness?
Where you
The
have
witness
listen,
around the framework.
where you have an idea about something, can you look beyond that idea and witness it as yourself without always attaching to that concept every time? Can you understand that when your brain thinks something, you can look at it and say, look, what would happen if I take this other path? Because I already knew that where I saw this thing happening, I can actually, it's not even deviation from my own life, but I'm living, that I have free will. So I can look at this and I can understand. Maybe they want to waste my time with their ideas of what they want me to counterthink about it. That's the point. When somebody can anticipate your idea is that we're going to fight them, it is at a point of predictability. I'm not harping on just being unpredictable.
That's another absurd loophole. Just to
Yeah, I mean, come on. Think about the logic there.
Oh, they predicted that I wasn't gonna find him, so
I can
and
actually...
Come on, man. That's
No,
no. Come
I
on.
can actually
come
explain this
on.
to you as a musician.
Come on.
The way that this actually breaks down is that as a musician, as a vocalist, I have understood that when I am singing
You
songs...
can say that.
Already?
You can say that on paper, but
All
in the
of these
real
words.
world, that doesn't work.
All of the words...
That only works in aspects of a fight, not within the entire battlefield.
I'm not losing an overall healthy perspective of it. What I'm saying is that every word that people have in their head, there has to be a way that people can analyze or understand or just not overthink it. So there are all of these ways that people can respond or react to ideas that they have in their brain. The intention of what your idea is, your intentions matter more than just what your brain thinks sometimes. So what I'm saying is that where you can say we have to fight these people, I can say actually the truth is I care more than maybe you do about some things. And some of the things that I know are very serious. There are some things that you know, and your intention to that matters, because when you have the good intention, you're willing to actually stand up and speak out about it, which is the good and right thing. There are some situations where you have to understand specifically what a good person will do in that situation is understand their intentions and their motivations and what they're willing to speak up about that, how they're willing to speak out about it. But that's not the only thing either. You have to focus on what does it mean to live my life with free will, that I am not just getting absorbed into
The witness
problems.
behind the frame. I mean, in a practical sense, you could say, I don't know, man. I don't know. In a end times scenario, I don't know how to exactly word this. I mean,
What I'm telling you is that they can use psychological warfare against the average person. There are so many ways that they try to polarize things to left or right or yes or no or opposites of opposites. And that's it. It's not about
And
opposites
so
of opposites.
let's just sit here and twiddle our thumbs and do nothing, because it's
That's
all
not-
assured
No,
in the kingdom of
that's
heaven.
That's not the point I'm making. What I'm saying is that what I have done enough good for humanity that I don't have to judge myself about who I am, because I know that I'm a good Christian. Where it is that I'm faithful and I have good intentions, that's actually my responsibility to my obligation of life, right? So I do that and I live that as me. I'm not problem to anyone.
What makes you a bloody goddamn
In
good
life.
Christian, mate? What makes you good? This is like Michael fucking asking his therapist what makes Jimmy a good kid. What makes you a good Christian? Because you don't
Because I'm
blaspheme, you're not
Yeah.
raping anybody, you're not adulterous, mate. There are
Because I know
plenty
God.
of hours on the clock left in the fight, and you're sitting there warming the bench. What makes you a good Christian? It's a neutral question.
What do you suggest the exact What do you suggest the exact parameters or requirements are for me to have been involved in the fight?
I just said
What I can
there
say is that I've
hours
actually
left on the clock, and you're
Yeah.
just letting them count down because you're investing on your laurels and warming the bench.
if I were not doing anything, I would believe that I have an oath to national security, which I don't. Because that's part of how the government hit me. So, if I believed that I was loyal to the government, that would be my problem.
I'm only framing that from your worldview, the hours left on the clock. I mean, you could be just as defeatist with a Q.
Listen,
Brian up
my
there.
obligation to life and what I do as a person in life, in this world, is actually what I've done is a lot better than what a lot of other people care about.
What I'm saying, man, is that there's plenty of hours on the clock. The game isn't over yet.
I can give plenty of good advice to people who aren't as knowledgeable as me in that experience, right? So what I can say to people, and by the way, I'm not saying don't fight this, but what I'm saying is don't use violent ideas, but use your intellect.
Well, every battle. No shit, Sherlock. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, I'm saying it for people who are listening.
Well, I know, but I feel like you. I don't know if you totally had.
Do you have any idea how many people I've tried to wake up? Do you have any idea? I have talked to hundreds of people in ways where
I've talked to thousands.
the point is, it's not a competition.
What I'm saying is that there is plenty of time left in the clock. I don't fucking see how you can just sit there.
What do you mean just sit there? What have I done wrong? You have a perception that that's what I did because of how I told you. Because I explained to you what the whole point of the breakdown of me being me is. What I'm doing is I'm actually showing you that it's not that I'm doing nothing. It's that me being myself, I have already broken down that I know how this beast operates. I know the names of people who are working within it.
We need ground troops. Go wake up some random people. Go have a conversation with a random person.
What I'm telling you is
Get back on YouTube.
I know enough information.
Get back on Facebook. All right, good.
No.
Let's see you actualize that.
I know
into
enough
something.
information
Let's
that
see you do
if I
something
were to
with
put
it.
it out there, there are only specific people who will ever be able to listen to this and grasp it. But at the same time, where I can tell you, honestly, and it's not only about social media, it's not only about the networking, it's about the understanding.
Doing something.
No, right?
I don't care. You know what I used to do? Just fucking. Now we can say what we want about Alex Jones.
Yeah.
All right.
I do
but
music,
as
by the way. That's my thing.
As a fucking just a baseline spark of consciousness moment for people waking up. All right, like Alex Jones is a decent place to start if you're gung-ho fucking thinking that everything is, you know, rainbows and bubblegum, standard story fed to you in high school and shit, right? You people, and I've seen people go on this journey where they'll listen to Alex Jones for a while, maybe a year or two, and they go through, they reach a fork in the road where they either decide that they're the Alex Jones type of conspiracy theorist, they follow the InfoWars telemetry or approximation of things, or they are well, we already covered the Bill Hicks, and I guess you could call that a subcategory in there, or of the vein that Alex is controlled opposition. Regardless, that's kind of a waking up process and a decision that people make. They get into Alex, they start Googling things that he says, they get into other channels, they discover the Alex Jones is controlled opposition or a Bill Hicks type guy, or Bill Hicks, whatever. They discover that along the way. Then they make that decision further down the road.
The point.
This is all this kind of process.
I understand, but that can be mentally unhealthy for some people because they're looking at
Who gives a
what
fuck?
they. No, right?
Some soldiers have to fall on the fucking battlefield. If your goddamn goofy ass starts researching the New World Order and has a motherfucking mental breakdown, all right? You know,
It's important that they know the truth. What I'm telling you about what the truth really is, what the value of the word is, it kind of amounts in a lot of ways really to whether or not this person is detoxing their brain and their body. So where it is that people are under mind control, that is their worst problem in a lot of ways after their spiritual problems, because where they're waking up, they're also still under control, even though they're waking up. They're waking up in a pollution.
of course.
So,
But
what I
just
understand,
taking the first step, just that first step, the realization that something is wrong and starting on the journey, because once
Yes.
you've taken the first step, the second step is inevitable.
So what I'm telling you honestly is that even more than just news articles and social media, there should be a non-political instruction manual for becoming not a person who is vulnerable to the targeting of this beast.
Well, look, all right, you know, we have the way I described this to Brian, okay? Because Brian's a fucking Q guy.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, he thinks Hillary and Obama
You know,
got
it's just an
executed.
FBI setup, right?
I know. He thinks Obama and Hillary got executed in Guantanamo, and he's gonna get some QFX quantum financial bullshit
If
money.
somebody
from
believes in that with their
the,
whole heart,
Serrana,
they kind of need to look at their mental
cult,
health.
and all of that shit. Oh yeah, you know, he'd probably be. I don't know if he'd be out there expecting a dead Kennedy to pop up and give a speech, but that was probably the most embarrassing moment for Q there. Everybody thinking that they were gonna show up in some courtyard and get a speech from a dead Kennedy, and that's where like
Dude,
a
these
lot
are
of
literally
lines.
the counterintelligence operations of the government.
But regardless,
All sorts of stuff like that is counterintelligence.
it's funny because I explained that to him. I'm like, you know, I've been doing this. I understand that you're a Trump guy and you got into and you identify with the Q movement and stuff.
It's all
But-
deeper than administrations too. Like, look at what Edward Snowden exposed about the permanent record and about all the mass surveillance stuff. When you can look at their perspective, meaning if you can look at Snowden's perspective, but you look at the mass surveillance state's perspective, you understand it's about controlling the information and what people are afraid of. When they can make a person who even knows a lot of information afraid of saying something, that's also a control mechanism.
Oh shit. Yeah.
So there's all sorts of these fears that people have about learning new information that is new to them in a way their brain feels like it's new to them. So then you say, well, this is where we're waking people up. The point is, they have to have good intentions and curiosity for information to really thrive. But to
Wow,
discern, to have discernment. See, the internet has this overload of information where people may either fall or wake up spiritually. And so this is where I'm telling you, being a Christian, being faithful, and being blessed that way is important.
The way I described it to Brian is that we almost have battle lines, basically. And so we have to have a certain, as Trump supporters and as people that watch Alex Jones even, we have to have a certain level of faith that he isn't controlled opposition. We can verify, and now I don't see the angle there. I don't see how that system plays out. He has said stuff that is way too bottom of the fucking rabbit hole, the bottom of the rabbit hole-ist type shit I've ever heard. Alright, so I don't see how him being a gatekeeper works if his fucking gate starts at the back room. But
there are some things, and look, various specific things that if someone says publicly becomes a problem for a lot of corruption and possibly for good people.
What I'm getting
There's
at,
leverages of information that people have about public
what I'm getting at is that unlike the Q people, we can pivot in our separate ranks. I'm my own guy, all right? And for the members in my group, I'm their Alex Jones. I'm the curator there of the good shit. And Alex Jones is his own Alex Jones for his people, and Trump is his own Trump for his people, all right? But at any point, me in the lower rankings can say, or Alex can say, I don't agree with Trump on this thing. I'm going to pull a 180 and say I don't support this thing. All right, you need that freedom of movement there. All right. Now, if it comes out, we find out, all right, Trump is controlled opposition or Alex Jones is controlled opposition, then we descend back.
Trump has to be controlled opposition.
All right,
the framework of what he's defending about this
vampire
corruption.
Elvis.
There is a framework of corruption which it's basically rotten from the inside out of the country's government.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say the hydrocarbon. We can have this like semantical argument.
Trump has actual gag orders of national security gag orders that have excuses.
Well, I just mean one example would be, the hydrocarbon dollar. And so you could say that that's an example of corruption. And like, what's the point of propping up the economy if you're just going to have the Federal Reserve still be attached to it like a leech, right? So there's those different levels of it.
But there's a path of what this corruption is doing to people and the environment and the lives that people are living. So the life that a person is living, there is a path of what the Federal Reserve is to cryptocurrency, to internet regulation, to stealing resources from the Middle East. It's the beast. But what Trump isn't just going to say is that that our country has been infiltrated by military-industrial complex, pharmaceuticals, and that the COVID vaccines were part of that hit against everybody. But also,
he doesn't want to admit shit about the COVID vaccines.
What you have to understand is that there is a national security apparatus with gag orders upon these public figures and statuses. They have all sorts of leverages of information and people, and what they can do to people. Do you have any idea what it is that a public figure could actually say a lot of stuff like this, and they actually won't because they've already been on the gag order and probably paid off? The point of this is where, like, I've even seen someone's wife do pornography because the guy in a band had an album with his band where he's singing about mind control.
Ultimately, look, like, we are at our certain levels of stuff, okay? I converse with YouTubers that are way too big for my britches.
They care about more of the flow of information than just small time stuff that they can censor.
I'm talking about my line, all right? That's over at my line. I talk with my people over at a higher level than me, but my level, whatever, right? On my ship, I'm in command there in that little group.
Sure.
But fucking, the problem that I see is that you know, we're at this level where we aren't in a room with Trump. We're not in a room with Alex Jones. All the Bill Hicks people, he's a vampire right now, like, I mean, or reptilians, or the Vril, okay? Isn't there a certain frequency if you're one of the lizard people that you're possessed, different frequencies or bells? We're not on any kind of a personal level with those people, right? So that's how these kind of, in my eyes, how these kind of conspiracies end up proliferating.
Humanity interfaces digitally with information. The way that people are interfacing with this information is actually way beyond what the human mind thinks most of the time. People actually a lot of times don't grasp their concept of learning and understanding to their witnesses of life, which what I actually mean is what will their next idea be to what they're already doing. These are on these breakdowns of like intersensory perception. And what I mean by that is what a person is to what they're doing, to what they're interacting with in the world. These are the points of information where a lot of people are just falling off their discernments, because it's actually, when you understand the biological processes and mechanisms of thought and all sorts of stuff, that's what they don't want people to understand. Because that understanding, it's like rooting your phone, but it's like rooting your brain to where you don't have a root, but you understand what that concept is. That's what they don't want people to know. Because these kinds of people are free thinking and have free will. But a Christian has a blessing of submitting their free will to God. And in that, it's not being put under mind control. It's literally not having the control mechanisms of sinfulness and of being submissive to Satan and all these proxies of deceitfulness, all these proxies of whatever evil is being worked through people, and on that disinformation and misinformation. So where someone should have faith, maybe someone else doesn't even get that idea because they haven't got to that point in their spirituality yet. But whoever does follow the will of God will have that salvation. And that's the point, is the salvation.
The place I come from is that none of this is decided, and
What do you mean by that?
It's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of what could be. These predictions in the Bible. All right, we could lose. We could lose. And I don't mean God himself or Jesus, but there's a certain point at which I would say, like the military's acceptable casualty levels for an operation, where we lost. All right, just because everything, the major points of the prophecy there, all right, fulfilled out as they were written, does not mean the casualties along the way weren't much higher than they had to be. All right.
The casualties in terms of people who are perceived casualties in a war of something that is of the world?
No, I just mean along the way with regards to anything. There's so many things. All right, your brand of farming gets made illegal and your diesel truck gets regulated and you can no longer feed yourself and you die early because of stress and shit like
But
that.
that's all worldly.
Taxes.
That's actually worldly
See,
stuff.
so that's where we get into the little bit of a problem with me and you, because
It's not that I
you
don't
discount all of the world
care. No, I don't.
shit
I don't.
because you think kingdom
What
of heaven
what
and yada,
I'm
yada.
saying is that Jesus
And
Christ is the Savior.
I tell you, yeah,
of each
yeah, sure,
person.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I tell you, fight as hard as possible anyway, and hope you get that shiny Jesus bonus at the end. Don't you know?
It's not at the end.
It's at the end.
No, it's not. The excuse is that it would be at the end. That's the excuse for not having accountability to people's actions and beliefs and what they immerse themselves into of their thoughts and feelings.
God helps those who help themselves.
I've heard people say that who aren't Christian.
I've
heard all sorts of people say that.
Doesn't matter. The point still stands. You know?
The point is that actually believing in someone's own self is a selfishness of them being able to save their self. There's not a use of faith in that, and there would be no use for it. So the point is to consider that life itself is a blessing and to live it. But where you're saying that we're under attack by these people, I'm telling you that Satan and it's his proxies and evil human beings who aren't saved by Jesus. That actually is the truth. But where I'm telling you that Jesus saves people who repent, I'm saying my actual concern for you is that you say that we're getting casualties, but you're not advocating for the Christianity.
No, I'm telling you that you should be fighting regardless. I'm telling you that...
I'm saying life had no purpose if not for God.
I'm telling you
But it
that...
did.
Oh, no, it'd still have plenty of purpose to that. God's a bonus. I'm telling you that
A temporary
we might
thing.
as well not... Yeah, that's what makes it beautiful. We might as well not have the most bumpy and chaotic, casualty-filled roller coaster ride of all time if we can help it. You know, it's like saying, don't worry, the paramedics will be there at the end of the ride.
If you know it's a temporary thing, why would you actually believe that all of this can get to where it's at without the Creator or without the source of eternal life?
Well, me and you's spiritual and biblical worldview are totally different. I mean, you go with the Bible's, you go with the scriptural mumbo
think
jumbo.
that's all at my witness
I
list.
think, you know, I'm Cathar, all right, with it. So I think there is a good entity up there, all right, the God of the light, if you will, the one that made the soul, and there's a bad God. But with the modern spin of my own scientific lens looking at it, and I've told you this before, I think it's a electromagnetic field out there, an amalgamation of ones and zeros, like a deck of cards that shuffled infinitely until it gained consciousness, and then it realized that it was floating around in the universe alone. So it moved particles around with its subtle electromagnetic influence until it created some life in the primordial ooze. It fractured off pieces of itself to make personalities to interact with. It created what you might call angels and said, oh, but they do everything I say and have no free will. I need to really make a separate entity to interact with. The world is a creation of boredom. Oh, I am in love with what? Nothing existed yet. You created something and then you loved it? Well, yeah, I mean, anybody who ever drew a picture or designed a car can relate to that.
It's the fact that love is actually the free will of the liberation that is the submission to Jesus Christ. That's the love of God. That's actually the meaning of creation, is that the only real life of actual life is the blessing of the Holy Spirit in Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father. That's literally what it is, that people have to actually understand that that is the only accountability, is to repent and be saved, to be changed and be saved.
You've got people who are in tune with an extremely low vibrational energy frequency, the schism, as David Icke would call it. And those are our problem people there.
If I were the person who had more actual witness of God saying, I'll show you this, and this is what you actually understand, is that if you're faithful, you can get a revelation of something. Consider that there are people throughout history who had that. I can tell you honestly, God has shown me things in ways and just blessings and miracles and all sorts of things where when somebody says, oh, well, you're just reading the Bible only and I don't believe that about the Bible, it's way past that. It's actually that I had faith in God, and God even showed me things where I wouldn't doubt
I think
him
the
already.
Bible, for instance, like the Bible is only the way it is because God had to communicate through us, to ourselves, through our lens. You know, think about that.
God had to communicate with us to our lens.
Through our lens.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah. But at the same time, do you understand what that actually means to what
Well, all right.
a
So now
person's
suppose
life experience? Hold on,
what
ready?
happens? What would happen if the Bible were to be written today? Obviously, they would use the same language.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be. I mean,
Letter J
there's
exists.
literally no accountability for what that is because that didn't happen. That's all sorts of like a simulation idea of a psychosis of what that is.
A simulation idea of a psychosis. Well, no, it's
Because
just
all
simulation.
no, because
Just
if
asking a
because
question.
all of history would be
What do
different.
you think?
It'd be paradoxical of all of it. Because everything happened.
Well, no shit, Sherlock. But
according
we're
to that.
not doing a hardened science experiment where we're going to worry about fucking paradoxes if we actually send somebody back in time. We're just saying.
If the Bible were only written.
No, I'm not saying if it were only. You know, you don't have to. Like I said, we're not dealing with a solidified, hardened thing here, okay? You can keep the universe as is and just suppose without jumbling everything up that the Bible gets written today. Just imagine the world as it is today. You don't need to jumble it all up, and the Bible gets written now. Just all of a sudden, Jesus shows up, starts talking to people, all right? He's not going to go by Isus or Yahshua. I or Y, okay? J exists. There's one example right there. Boom. You know.
You're just saying about letters and names?
That's just an example of something that's totally different now. Like he's communicating through a lens he created as well. Like, so this is kind of arbitrary. Once again, I mean, this is all shit that didn't need to be set up. I mean, stupid anyway. Alright, look at it like this way. This is a 2,000-year-long lesson. Everybody that started the class is dead. They died a long time ago, teach. Next lesson plan, don't have it be a lifetime's worth of years. 75-year lesson plan. All right?
In actuality,
It's arbitrary. Okay? Everybody that was around at the start of this thing was dead. This whole long, stretched out thing with Satan and the Antichrist and the end of days is all arbitrary.
what I would say to you is that there are revelations in this world, modern day revelations, that are so obvious that a person who doesn't interact with the scripture that way first of all, wouldn't have been one of the people in the book of Revelation meant to know that, but also people don't have an excuse for their lack of accountability at the very end. Jesus was put here to forgive people. There is no lack of scripture for what that is. It's literally the word of God is the living word of God. And it has when I say a live of life, I'm telling you, people were blessed in scripture that the book of the scripture is not only what people's brains are, but that the actual existence of people's thoughts and their skull is where they crucified Jesus. That's why the place where Jesus was crucified is called Golgotha, the place of the skull. The place of the skull, and I explained this to you before about the books, the way that people's brains are working and where
Careful, you're getting close to 33 spinal columns and
where people are. Ready?
You're getting close to that fluid that moves up the spine.
There's a literal
the oil, the Christos.
There's a literal point of convergence of where people are.
To the seat of the soul.
Where people are is where they are. And I'm saying the book of Revelation is deeper than only what someone's thought is.
The
but
morning
it has
there,
connection to it.
And people said they saw God's Son walk on water.
Yeah. I've seen things that are just as interesting as that. I've had prayers.
The zodiac.
I've known about things before they happen. I've had premonitions.
Are you familiar with that whole school there of the Bible being this sort of metaphorical breakdown of the human body?
What do you mean?
And astrology. Well, so you've never heard, you don't know about all right, so it's something like 30 or 40 meals like that you've got to eat in order to equal one nut, basically. Your body needs like that much food to create one nut, basically. Yeah. And
what?
Yeah. Yeah, and the fluid that goes, it's called giving her a piece of your mind, because the fluid that actually goes through that comes from your brain. There's a whole connecting system.
Well, same thing with some of the
that
snot.
goes down your spine and out there. So you're giving her a piece of your mind. Frickin'
I'm not exactly sure about that, but okay.
The solstice, frickin' the cross in the sky, and you don't know any of this, like the ancient peoples worshiping the sun, and so
I know that what they used to do.
All right, so a lot of these societies, like the Roman Catholics, taking the paganism and turning it into their own control system. You've never heard,
Dude, there's all sorts of various methods of their problems of what they did as they try to distort information.
How does it work exactly? The resurrection is that the sun sets earlier every day around the year until it hits the 3-day solstice, and then it stays at the same degree in the sky, and then it begins to set earlier. No, it sets later until it hits that 3-day point, and then for 3 days it stays at the same degree in the sky. That's the resurrection, God's Son being born again. The ancient Egyptians believed that this was the death of the sun because the sun stopped moving in the sky. Every day it moved a couple of degrees, and they could track that. And so when it stopped moving for those 3 days, that's considered the death of God's Son. And so then it's reborn. And then you see God's Son walking on the water when the sun rises.
I didn't hear about that before you said
Like-
it, but what
all right, like
what I do know is that
Mithra.
there were 599,998 people of the Egyptians who were killed by plagues. And there's a biblical story that 2 people who are actually followers of Jesus were saved. And that the others started out saying that they would follow the Lord, and they didn't. So the ancient Egyptians were brought to ruin, and 2 people were saved. Now that
So you never heard of like
It's
Mithra?
interesting.
You never heard of like Mithra? That's still
No.
around today. The cult of the followers of Mithra. Well, Mithra. So you've never heard of this whole thing where there's literally dozens and dozens of guys who basically have Moses and Jesus' story. There's dozens of religions that basically operate off of a version of the Bible with just different names. Over and over again, we keep on getting this book over and over again, but just different names. It happens in different places, different scenarios, but the pieces still move around the same. And so basically the theory is that, well, either it's kind of like retelling a story over and over again. Like the events that took place in the Bible happened a lot longer ago before the Bible happened, and it's the retelling of the story with different names over the course of millennia, or the entity you want to call God keeps on trying to reach out with different people over and over again. And this time just happened to be the most effective one. Mithra didn't really get it right.
what I know, I don't
Didn't
know.
do, or his book didn't do too good.
I don't know about those people. What I do know is that Moses was either a prophet who was killed, and that his book. Sorry, hold on. I need to re-explain this all over again, because there's multiple explanations for who Moses could have been. Moses was either a Christian prophet who was killed and had his books rewritten, or he was an alias that was used by Satan and people who wrote false prophecies, or there's a third explanation. Basically, he could have just been a false prophet.
I'm not
But-
saying now everything I've said, I'm not saying that there's no good or no evil.
Hold on, ready?
All right.
What I'm telling you is that the Old Testament, some of the things that were attributed to Moses were absolutely not the teachings of Jesus Christ. So what actually happened with the 5 empires that became the Roman Empire is Satan definitely had his manipulation of some people, and he's definitely played various human beings, quote unquote, throughout history. And I know that for a fact. So what happened is Moses...
Played Al Pacino twice.
Oh, listen, what I'm saying is that actually most Christians don't even understand that Moses was a false prophet. Moses was a false prophet. The way that Moses was a false prophet is he was either a good person who was assassinated and they stole his scriptures and rewrote things, or he was just an alias of a group of people who were trying to fornicate the scriptures, or he was a false prophet. But for him to just be a false prophet would mean that this is the turning point of human lineage of those false prophecies. So what I'm actually looking at is that where Satan has played roles of people throughout history, he could have been Moses, or it's just something.
I've never heard anybody.
It's definitely allowed to happen to
I've never
test
heard anybody
people.
say that Moses, the story of Moses that we've been told is anything other than that.
No, Moses was a false prophet.
And so run this by me again. Why?
So the story of Adam and Eve is true. What happened? There are actual accounts of books that were listed as attributed to Moses that are true. But there are parts of the Old Testament that were said to be written as Moses, where Moses was a false prophet. Because the teachings of violence, of kill people, is not what Jesus was teaching. But Jesus
Well, that
also...
just means it's Old Testament.
No, to say it's just Old Testament, you have to understand Moses was hugely a writer of the Old Testament, according to
And once you get Jesus and New Testament and New Covenant and all that, all the old rules go out the window anyway. So
it's
just
not
having
about
it
that.
there
The point is God
is
was
just one
consistent.
thing.
No, God is consistent in his teachings. That's the whole point. Jesus was saying that there would be false prophets and that you will know them by how they are different, by how they're defiant to the actual teachings of Christ, of the forgiveness. And the actual fact of what happened is that so much of the Old Testament, it's actually where the Moses teachings were about, like, an eye for an eye. If somebody hits you, you hit them back. Those teachings, it's actually where moral accountability is, that the human cannot pay the price of the death without dying. So where it is that a person who commits murder deserves death or to be murdered, it is not that we use those as spiritual teachings, because Jesus is the Son of God, sent to save people, that they be saved. That's the whole point of humanity being created, was salvation, so that people love and love freely in the liberation of the salvation of Jesus Christ. Where people would just say, oh, it's the Old Testament, so disregard it, it's actually not the truth that they do that, because the truth of it is there are accurate stories of the Old Testament, but Moses was used as a false prophet in the very same way that the empires before the Roman Empire were pitted against each other to create the Roman Empire. And Satan had influence in that. It's not only humanity, it is where these convergent points of these cataclysmic events happen. It's a breakdown of human lineage in that scripture. So people, very interestingly similar to what America did to the Middle East, where they take over power and they basically plunder the resources and they make more powers of themselves. They branch off and they create these proxies. It's kind of like what happened with the old empires, that all were raped and plundered. They did literally like false flag wars of the empires to make this one empire. That is literally how the proxy of America is functioning throughout the rest of the world today. So they created a beast, and they created a beast later on. But the point of what that is it's not even only human beings. It is where the power, the pinnacle of the power, can be used to cause the next cataclysmic event in Revelation. When Satan and all of hell have that authority given to them by God, it is used to make trials and tribulations to test faithful people and unfaithful people.
I don't like the way everybody talks about prophecy or the way prophecy is supposed to work. I don't like any of the prophecy shit going on. Alright? I don't know what you think about the whole red heifer situation and Israel doing what it's doing and everything, but I refer to it all as games of tiddlywinks in the desert. Alright? If these books were not known to humanity, okay, and we found them like the Dead Sea Scrolls last month, and everybody was in their places, and Israel was sitting here looking for a red-haired cow, getting ready to sacrifice it. That's one thing. You just learned about it a couple of days ago. Okay, now it's a prophecy. You don't get to sit there and go, oh, well, you don't get to sit here and have this book saying that these events will happen and then replicate the events. All right? You see what I'm saying? If you found the book in a cave randomly a couple of days ago and it said Israel will be, trying to get the Temple Mount and looking for a red heifer to sacrifice, and that just happens to be what's going on, but it's not common knowledge, then it's prophecy. Everybody knows these prophecies. You can't play a game of tiddlywinks in the desert hoping to force God to show up because he says he will after a red heifer and this, that, and the third.
That wasn't even the point. Done. The second coming of Christ is not even what you would think it would be.
No, I'm not talking about really what you were saying. I'm just saying they're trying to artificially hasten along the entire process of prophecy. You can't know about it. The general masses and a whole government can't put resources behind trying to replicate this shit on purpose.
That's not what it is.
No, but that's what it is. Israel literally thinks that they're going to hurry this shit along by putting resources behind doing it.
What I can tell you honestly is that the symbolism of the horsemen of Revelation and the mark of the beast, this is actually where it is that what God already did is he showed us it's not about if they can do a skit of a piece of Revelation. That's not it. God does not.
That's how everybody reporting on it talks about it. That's how the conversation
there may be people.
It is,
there may be people who think that they're doing that. If there are people who think that they're doing that, then they're already delusionally evil, in a way where they think that their purpose would be to bring that about. God did not tell people to do rituals like to bring about revelation. That's not how it works. That's literally like playing it's like playing a freaking Pokemon card game at a table with someone and just saying, oh well, this is what they did in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. It doesn't have any significant meaning to Revelation. God already outsmarted Satan at the very beginning. So the point is, what this is not just this big political ritual about Israel. There are actual famines and all sorts of things that will happen. Plagues, wars, the mark of the beast. Honestly, the next 10 or 15 years, I already know that they have the vaccines with the nanotech, that's the mark of the beast. But further than that, the cryptocurrency becoming the main usage of currency and the internet regulation of maybe making a new internet, where this is also tied to globalization and mass surveillance, is exactly what that beast is in the fulfillment of the revelation. And that is really what it is, that when you say like, oh, we need to fight this system, I'm looking at it and saying, well, there's a mark of the beast. It's already on the earth. There are people who are controlling civilization on this. They want to make sure that cryptocurrency is the biggest way of trading or commerce. At that point, they also have internet regulation. They're going to be able to censor people in ways where all big tech platforms, social media, has censorship of information and classification of information, regulation of the internet and the other internet. So this is literally where AI also takes over. And that's what it is, that when people think that they're working for the government and doing all sorts of ideas of keep people safe and control this information, well, what does that mean 10 or 15 years where the government was trying to play both sides of the fence and didn't get to being able to do that because they're already at a proxy of what they are? And it's money. It's money that controls people. where money will control people. The government was overthrown by the beast already. And then they pretend that they're going to do the right thing, but they have proxies of puppeteering of what that is to what Satan has controlled on the earth.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is that from the usual, from on its face or whichever level you want to really look at it, to the people, from the usual Washington recycled garbage, we descended a line from the supposed political insiders. We got somebody who at least appeared to be more grassroots and more down to earth in Trump. Whether or not he actually is, isn't the point. It's the point of setting precedent for the craving of wanting somebody in the populace more grassroots, more down to earth. Once you've had something good, what do you want? More of it. So, I think coming up on 2028, what I would really love to see is for it to go even down further grassroots. I'm thinking about Bear Independent, and you didn't sit there, I didn't get to give you the resume there of what Bear Independent does. You know, you just kind of, I don't know, man, I gotta send you that channel, you gotta check him out and get in on the Bear Army there, some of the stuff that he's into.
I'll
because
check it out.
You know, I tell you all these names, and I'm like, but you smile, and you think it's whatever.
A lot of movie actors
like,
I don't know.
Well,
but I will check out what you just mentioned about Bear Independent.
So, I mean, what I really want to start doing after the Christmas holiday, supposing the next couple of months goes good for me, and I've been meaning to like build up around to doing this, but I've just been like focusing on so many different areas at the same time and just kind of like having a bunch of RPG, like an RPG game, bunch of loading bars, you know, like in Metal Gear Solid when you got 15 different things in the R&D team being worked on, you get a bunch of loading bars at once going, so, you know, 2 groups, 2 YouTube channels.
Oh, you should get portable ops, by the way.
Bunch of loading bars. But, you know, the number one problem at the end of the day, when it comes to fighting the New World Order, is people's inability or lack of someone there to push them to make that simple decision as to where they're going to be in opposition to that kind of stuff. And whether it's and guess what we're up to now? Guess what we're up to? What were we at? Like 807 or something? 808?
It was 805, and then it was 806 that guy at Dollar Tree.
Oh. We are at 852 now.
Wow, that's a lot.
So.
Well, I mean, that's a jump from a week ago, right?
Indeed. So we are at 852 now, going on 900 members, 1,000 pulling up finally, right around the corner. Okay. Now, like, yeah, the number one problem, and it's just crazy to me. It's like, you know, I've made videos talking about this before. I got the freaking meme there from Fury where he's just like, put a hole in his freaking back. It's that simple. He's trying to kill you. You've got to kill him. Put a hole in his freaking back. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. Fight for yourself, for God's sake. And you know, and it's not like we're really in a serious actual war where you got to go over the top and jump up over some trench.
Yeah.
We're talking about having a conversation with another person, trying to wake somebody up.
Sure.
Fucking the
non-violently but metaphorically wake
all
up.
Those clips of battles in the group, all right, and big violent battles in the group, all of those are metaphors.
Well, I was just thinking literally
itself, all right, like I was telling you.
Yeah.
The emotion there, the decision to act is to make the group and to post the video the emotion of anger against the enemy and the emotion of love towards the things that I love that I'm protecting is what gives the fuel to the decision to stay awake for 6 hours watching all those things so that I can make a breakdown video or post screenshots of articles. All right, so I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just machine gunning these videos out there.
So ready?
All right?
Here's a really important explanation, right? You just referenced that war movie about put a hole in his back. Now, where it's really important to even understand this, like basic fundamental understanding, is consider, and not just consider, but look at the understanding of the fact that throughout history, militaries have been used against other militaries.
All right. You don't need to go that deep. You don't need to go that deep. The point of it is...
I'm saying where that happened is where people should have just been waking up about
the point of it is that out of all the people that are in that group, how often when I say invite some people to the group, does it actually happen? Out of all the people in that group, when I say share the videos, wake somebody else up, if you're going to leave the group, start your own group, how often does it happen? When I share one of my videos, I'm willing to be standing here as the next Charlie Kirk. I can't help myself. I'm a moth to the flame. Fuck these people until I die. All right? How often do people, never mind buy something from the InfoWars Life Store, just learn about iodine and these things, period.
That's good.
And don't actually frickin' buy them.
Yeah, exactly.
How often, all right?
But that's what I'm saying about the supplements.
Your profile picture on your goddamn Facebook says that you hate the New World Order, but it seems like it's a fucking struggle for people to lift their damn finger up and hit the subscribe button. What's wrong? I thought you hated the New World Order.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to help me build a big, giant middle finger to flip. You don't want to flip it off with me? What's wrong? Where's the middle finger strength at? You see, that's it is so easy to pick that middle finger up. Why is it a struggle for most people?
So the thing is, some people would perceive you saying that as like you're a violent extremist. I know that's not it. It's part of the way.
Yeah, I'm a violent extremist. Look
at
these extremities all over the place. You can't even stop them.
It's part of the way that people will perceive it. Is like they can take something very surface level. It's how a lot of people's brains function.
Well, if
the way that I'm saying it,
you take that clip with zero contents.
Yeah.
You take that zero context at all.
It's very easy to take that with zero context.
Oh, of course, but it's easy to do that with anything. I seen a clip just the other day. But the point is that what are we talking about? We're talking about fluoride in the water here, and you being fucked on your taxes. All right, we're not talking about. We're talking about growing the balls to post
the
something
laziness about that. See, the thing is, a lot of people, they could be very like passively learning, and they could hear you get upset, and then they're like, oh well, he's kind of going off the deep end. Even if you're not, like, even if you're just being self-expressive about this and like showing frustration about it, some people take that literally.
Well, yeah, it is literal. What the fuck is wrong with you? You got a Guy Fawkes Anonymous mask for a profile picture. Every other post on your little dinky group of list of friends there is about how you hate the New World Order, yet you're not doing anything other than posting stuff on your own little group of friends there profile. You're not helping anybody build anything. You're not building anything.
The problem I have about the Guy Fawkes mask is that all sorts of these political movements have been either sabotaged or uprooted or
whatever it is. That it could just be the Illuminati eye with a big, circle and a line through it.
I don't think
whatever
it's
that
even,
says.
I don't think it's even necessary, but I'm not hating on it. But
I'm not hating on it either. Yeah. No, I'm just saying walk the walk.
But the laziness of some people about that.
Do something.
Yeah. So some people could be lazy about it, or they think, oh, I don't want to like
not hard.
Be attached to that.
And then there's another level of it where it's like, well, yeah, you know, being attached to something and just getting butthurt at the end of the day when somebody wants you to subscribe to something is another thing I feel like happens with people. But yeah, no, it's just
Honestly,
when it comes to a YouTube channel specifically, like, I mean, that's a different type of hump to get over than just the can I have conversations with people about the New World Order or about anything. You know,
I have to kind of
or something.
Interject here about something that is there's something that's explained.
With me than I did.
Something that's explained in Metal Gear Solid 2.
I'm gonna take a piss.
Which is when the JD AI, the kernel AI, says you lack the qualifications to exercise free will. It's at the point where people's brains will be talking to their ideas of their excuses, or they're talking to their ideas of their misguidedness about themselves, about their self, right? So I believe that most people on the internet are very undereducated or miseducated in ways that if they express their opinion, it might hit someone's good idea in a way where a person should have a sort of fortification of their mind or their brain to where they don't have too much malleability and soft squishiness of how their brain would spread misinformation to their self. And what I mean is, when people retain information, there's already kind of an information filter of their brain to their self. If it goes wrong because somebody else said something and it's misinformation or disinformation, it's kind of detrimental to that person in a way, sometimes. And so, Eric, what I'm basically explaining is, does an individual person have a respectable education when they're speaking online?
Does an individual person have a respectable education?
Yeah, like are they miseducated?
Online?
Are they miseducated at the point that they're sharing their opinion or their belief? Or are they actually properly at a good education?
That is for the comment section to decide.
Exactly. But it's not for the comment section itself to decide. It's where the comment sections on the internet are generally having this problem is in the comment section, but it starts in people's brains, right? But it's where people propagate misinformation, where the internet kind of failed. See, the thing is, the internet is massive and there's all sorts of people communicating. The internet, people actually failed at some kind of social revolution against evil in this world. Massively. Because the internet is the
opposite. I think it's the opposite.
No, there are a lot of people still talking about it.
The ARPA intergalactic communication network was originally designed to be a control grid system for us, and the fact that so many people were unwilling to go along with that plan, you know, and I don't mean strictly unwilling to go along with it, but no enthusiasm for it, all right? The fact that the internet is the way it is, I think, suggests the opposite of what you're saying.
But I'm saying massively, like, I'm saying the number of people who should be more awake to this kind of stuff, it is actually a lot lower and it's less organized.
Oh yeah.
Even with the internet. Like, consider that the internet is the internet, but that people are much less organized.
This brings me to what I was saying. This brings me to what I was going to be talking about with Bear Independent. In that, all right. Let me spit this guy's resume
Little
out
mechanisms that have filtered information over the years
to dissuade you of any kind of thinking that of whatever you may have thought. All right. Bear Independent, 2028. He makes the best med kits in the country. Last time I checked.
Oh, I remember you told me.
All right,
about
so
it.
I told you about that part,
Yeah.
right? It's like something like more than 130 lives saved at this point with his med kits used by police and military. All right. I told you he runs a Bible study called Grindstone Ministries.
I don't remember that. Maybe a little bit.
Runs a Bible study, preacher kind of dealio there called Grindstone Ministries. A disaster response team that digs people out of hurricanes. He runs a rehabilitation center for sex-trafficked kids called Caleb House, and a team that goes out and rescues them, armed. And their motto is making bad things happen to bad people. So you're dealing with a guy who knows the way around, who runs a business, knows to some degree the medical system and the military and police, deals with disaster response, knows to some degree the medical system of EMTs, first responders, and FEMA, does rescuing and rehabilitation of trafficked kids. All right, not gonna worry too much about Israel's opinion on the Epstein files if Bear is the president. You see what I'm saying?
What, he wants to run for president?
Yeah, Bear Independent, 2028. He started a second channel called Blue Collar President. Now the point is that he is out of Canadian Prepper and Preston Stewart and Lewis from Grand Supreme News and Mark from Full Spectrum Survival and Goshen Prepping and Riverside Homestead and DIY Prepper and City Prepper and The Popular Report and yeah, on and on. Dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of these channels. I've only named like half of them. I could sit there and scrape my brain for another probably 5 minutes of names here. Whole big giant list, all right? Out of all of them, he's the one guy willing to stick his neck out and say, all right, I'll run for president. I'm getting sick of this shit. You know, and so that's a recession of the bottom of the front line, okay? If we can't trust Trump to get these things done, all right? If Trump isn't grassroots enough, if he isn't close enough to the actual power, which is us, we're supposed to be in control of the country, if he isn't close enough to us to be trusted, then what's the next step? Somebody more grassroots. And so you go Bear Independent. Now, the point is that, and I'm disappointed with all of you.
I'll be honest.
The point is that across the millions of subscribers of all those channels that I just named, they should have jumped on immediately and gone, oh yeah, Bear Independent 2028. He's one of us, one of the preppers. Why has that not been a thing? So that's like one of my major pushes over the next 3 years. As you've seen, I don't know if I showed you the videos of the comment section hearts where I had, gathered them all up into a big-ass montage of all the different big-ass YouTubers I've talked to and had them see my comments and shit. But my next push over the next 3 years is getting all of these prepper channels to look at Bear Independent, support him, all right?
So, I have some things to say about this. Ready? My feeling is I respect the idea of prepping in a way of stock up on things that you need, right? That's kind of common sense. If you can afford to do that, then it's not a bad idea. Within a reasonable amount of preparation of what that is, right? In terms of like YouTube channels of that, I'm not just going to say that this guy is useless. I think what it sounds like he's done is really good. Like he's actually done things where he's helped people with first aid kits and whatever. That's good. Overall,
Saving hundreds of lives
Yeah.
and making some of the most high quality med kits of the country.
Yeah.
And literally being on video with the disaster response team as he digs people out of tornadoes
good.
and shit. Like, yes, far from useless.
yeah. So
Not even in the same sentence.
I
should
don't
be
really,
located.
yeah. So I don't really like a lot of like political spectrumization of this kind of thing, right? So like in general,
all right, what I'm ultimately getting at, all right, I want somebody to be the president walking around with a GoPro attached to their fucking head, live streaming the shit. If Bear Independent, we got a YouTuber in as the president, all right?
so you're
that's
saying
at
it
the
draws
end of-
awareness to the
at the-
problems of the trafficking
At the
and all
end
sorts
of,
of
well,
corruption.
all right, I mean, this guy's literal life is saving and rehabilitating sex trafficked kids.
Yeah.
All right? If Israel comes over with some cornball nonsense of, oh, our Mossad has this blackmail operation going with your CIA, so you got to protect the Epstein client list and blah, 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 I would hope that he's going to tell them to shove that shit right up their ass.
I haven't heard
Okay.
of that before
So,
you said it, but
well, that's what the...
it sounds kind of wild.
Yeah, see, now that's why we gotta go for the next episode with the screen recorder episode, and the topic is gonna be Green Hill Radio, because we're gonna scroll through Green Hill Radio and talk about all the stuff over there, because it's pretty metaphorically spot on.
Here's the
With
point.
the like Star Wars memes I've been posting about it.
Yeah.
With regards to Epstein, Trump, and Israel.
Here's the point. Okay, I don't know a lot about Israel, and I've just heard stuff about Epstein way
I'm about
too
to go
much.
soon too. I'm like, hot and want to go smoking.
Just give me like
But, yeah.
2 minutes to explain this,
Yeah,
ready?
yeah,
So, I wanted to respect the idea of the presidential office, okay? What I do know is that anybody who becomes president has national security gag orders on them. Obviously, they have to if they're the president, and
No,
it makes
you can
sense.
just classify whatever you want.
No, that's not all it is. There is an administration, but the administration has intelligence agencies behind them, whether they're federal agents or military agents or whatever, right? DOD, DHS, NSA, FBI,
Yes, you just
whatever.
need to lie.
Okay, but listen
You
to
just
me.
need to just
Ready?
lie until you
No.
get in there. Then turn the GoPro on, live stream it.
No. What actually happens is that, okay, Trump says that he's against corruption. That's good, right? What I understand about this country is that nobody was jailed for MK Ultra or MK Naomi.
Oh, yeah, okay.
0 people.
Or Operation
Okay?
Artichoke or
Paperclip,
Operation...
whatever. All sorts of stuff. COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO.
So close.
They still have all sorts of these things, continuations in modern day projects. Okay, so we know that they did not imprison people. This is what it is, that there's human intelligence in the United States. They target domestic citizens. People call it targeted individuals. I call it domestic
the
terrorism.
CIA's experiment for a new love. You
Whatever.
know about that?
Listen, the point is,
You don't know
'cause
about that?
I don't want to listen. I don't want to joke about this right now. I'm saying it very literally, okay? Listen to me, because this is important. The president actually had a moral and righteous obligation to make sure that the public would be informed about these human experimentation operations, programs, whatever. It's all a bunch of words that have been hit on people's ideas. Like, people project an idea of a word onto their understanding to confusion and to literally make excuses about it. But this country is at a point where I can't really respect the presidential office the way I wanted to. But what I do believe is that I do have some kind of respect for Trump in a way where I also look at it and I could question so many other things. What I understand is, and this isn't just to reference Edward Snowden, But what he explained was already what I believed was happening, which is that no matter what administration is at play, there are people who have been behind these administrations for decades. So these people are the shadow government behind that. And I don't like using that term either. But explaining this the right way,
All right.
that is what is in power.
All right,
Whether
so now
it's
look,
one guy or the other in the presidential office.
Now look, we have this wave, we have this line here, okay? And within this line, here is Alex Jones and here is Trump as the spearhead.
Yeah.
All right? And then, say further behind that wave, we have Bear Independent. And here's Bear Independent and here's me, right? And so just like I talked about earlier, getting rid of the front line, right? If we find out that the front line isn't performing in battle any longer and has fallen, all right, then we are the next line in there.
You know what's really interesting, though? Where you're looking at this, though, we already understand.
I didn't even get through the damn explanation
I know,
of shit
but
because, you know, my train of thought has been being thrown off.
You're
Right.
explaining what that resistance is. But also understand, they have all sorts of these information filters, algorithms around all of it. Yeah.
Let me try to like reconstitute what we got that going on here. All right.
I just wanted to mention that. But go ahead.
Well, give me a second. Let me get a drink too.
The point I'm kind of making about this is that where the corruption knows that they want to filter information, they want to calculate and anticipate what tomorrow's headline is to what they tried to do to yesterday's headline about today's headline. I think that's the best way that I'm explaining it. And it makes a lot of sense. And now with AI, information filtering, curation to specific political agendas, that's kind of what people, that's literally like the shape of where people have been trying to decipher information or to explain information on the alternative media or alternative social media. They have these information filters on. It's very interesting to understand where people were kind of getting broken down on how they're gonna
What I'm getting
circulate
at is we still need another cycle, another evolution of this process of grassroots, everybody waking each other up to the point where we can support a political candidate. You get behind Bear Independent, you push him in there, a complete outsider. You know, we're drastically decreasing
They wouldn't
the
let it happen.
chances. We don't care. Force it to happen.
It can't.
That's the point. No, the point,
government can control their target however they want
Sure,
politically.
they can control it under the status quo system, but of there being a certain percentage of people that are awake, and that's just a discountable statistic there. But when it's 75% of the population going, no, fuck you, this will be, and you will not get in our way, at a certain point, they cannot stop it.
This is also
That's the point.
This is also where they have data metrics about all sorts of
Doesn't
flow
matter.
of information. It does matter.
matter.
They can
Doesn't matter.
But what they have done time and time again is they have thrown a wrench into the system of the flow of information to make sure that they deplatform or whatever.
They can throw wrenches.
History would be different.
They can throw wrenches into smaller situations that their cause, effect, and outcomes occur over a smaller span of time. But no amount of wrenches in any information system stopped JFK being killed by them from being the primary assumed narrative. No amount of wrenches in the system has stopped the primary assumed narrative from being fluoride is bad.
Yeah.
No amount of wrenches they can
But
throw
there
will stop the
yeah.
general public
The compilations
from
of information.
saying 9/11 was an inside job. No amount of wrenches will stop the Epstein didn't kill himself memes. So yes, while you can manipulate the outcomes of situations in the short term, the broader historical outcome is that we will win.
This is why they're trying to make partitions of people's understandings, so that one learn of an idea is different from the understanding of what the other idea is. They're trying to literally partition people's minds and brains, and that's what they got away with. That's part of how they distract people. It's literally like a hard drive that has partitions where you can read one, but when you're reading one of them, the other one, you can read that too. Maybe your device can't even read that other partition, but that's what they're kind of doing to people. It's
that's if they get to that point. Yeah, we have those internet ghettos and echo chambers,
but most
it's
people's
not like
brains
you're
are at that
hard
point.
walled off from other
A
people.
lot of people, the
you
way
know?
that they're thinking is controlled like that, though.
Sure.
I'm not saying that it's hopeless. I'm just saying that's one of the biggest problems that we face as a country and as people.
Well, I just know that if everybody was like me and the people in my group and the people that dare to subscribe to the freaking YouTubes, I just know that if there were more of us, all right, things would be a lot different.
One person could be very powerful. They have the blessing of the understanding and a good righteous intent to what they're doing.
Not because we are some fully awake group of people, all right, or that we have all the knowledge, but because we're going to continue to question things.
Someone who's been put on a path where they're learning over 10 years, it's kind of like you have to say that it's not hopeless for a new person's, like a person to have a new understanding, a newfound understanding of the right things.
The main spark that I would say makes a person awake is not the vast amount of knowledge of the system that they've collected over the course of their researching it, but just the acknowledgement of the system's existence.
I got a
realization some other shit is going on. Well, that has been today's exciting episode of Dinner in Green Hill. Tune in next time, like and subscribe. Fuck the New World Order, scum.